Welcome back to the SMITE Masters event, day number 3 and set number 3 right around the corner. All that brought to us by our friends over at Alienware. Make sure that you go over to their social medias on Twitter and Instagram at Alienware and AlienwareArena.com to see all the cool things that Alienware has to offer for you and to check out the cool PCs that our pros and the players that are in here in the studio are currently playing on those Aurora Ryzen 10 desktops and all the other cool stuff that gives us that top-of-the-line gameplay for that top-of-the-line experience for you and for everybody else at home to have that opportunity to do so. Thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring Season 9 of the SPL one more time. It's J-Mac. I got Mifflin joining me one more time on the desk here for set number 3, Eldritch Hounds, Kaolin Wardens, a North American showdown between these two teams, and the first time this event that these teams have played against each other.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. The Eldritch Hounds show in their last set that early game pressure seems to be the name of the game for them, and the Kaolin Wardens, who have generally been similarly about the early game, struggle up against the European boys throughout the early phases. We're able to bounce back, get a couple objectives around that 25-30 minute mark. We're able to turn it around. But if they stumble as they did, I think the Eldritch Hounds might punish them a little bit more so.
Indeed. Taking a brief look at the bracket, as we've already taken a look at it a couple of times. We'll see it all throughout the day. The important thing to remember with this matchup is the winner of this will automatically qualify to day number 4 and will be one of the first teams to now have to compete against the SPL talent because the Scarabs and the Valkyries are waiting the winners of today's sets at the very end of it all. What a prize that these SCC teams get to have for themselves as we move on throughout our SMITE Masters event. And then, well, should they make it through even tomorrow, then they still got to wait the other 6 teams of the SPL immediately after. But Mifflin, for these two teams specifically, Eldritch Hounds went undefeated throughout the season as far as set-wise, but one of the only games that the Eldritch Hounds had dropped was against the Kaolin Wardens. It was in week number 4 where the Wardens took game number 1 off of the Hounds. It was a very long, at that time, 35-minute game. And then the Eldritch Hounds decided to kick on the gas and took like a 24 and a 20-minute game immediately after.
Yeah, the Hounds have had a pretty significant run in North America, which is surprising considering some of these other teams, like just evaluating the Kaolin Wardens themselves. That's Relentless One, Sino, Moswall, Not Gino, Griff, multiple world champions on that team, a lot of competitive pedigree behind them, whereas the Eldritch Hounds have got a lot of newer talent. You've got guys like Oath who have erupted onto the scene. You've got guys like Renjaru who have been really only showing their face in the last couple of years. So I think it's so curious to see how quickly the Eldritch Hounds have become a team and started working together and developing their style, and how quickly they were able to hone it to a point where they are able to go undefeated in sets in North America. But with that said, the Kaolin Wardens have got a little bit of data now on how the Eldritch Hounds are liking to play. Having listened to that interview, I think that Crimson may have showed his hand a little bit too much, saying that, hey, we're really playing for the early game, and here are the picks that we really like. You got to believe that the Kaolin Wardens, ever the veterans, were listening and have taken note.
Well, even still, I mean, Crimson did say, I like playing Thoth, we're good at early. What did they do? They picked Thoth, they played it early, and they still won for the Eldritch Hounds. We'll see if there is a change-up for the Wardens up against them here in game number 1 of the picks and bans for our first best of 3 of the day between these two North American powerhouses. Eldritch Hounds with the first pick will immediately make an adaptation that no other team has done up against the Wardens. Amaterasu, the first god banned away.
Yeah, Relentless One going to have to work a little bit harder on his god pool. He's been playing almost exclusively Amaterasu so far, and so we'll have to look elsewhere. I know that there's been like rumblings that Warriors just aren't as good, but it feels like to me, yeah, they've been dominating so far this week. We've seen Warriors in the jungle. We've seen Warriors in the solo. We've seen multiple Warriors per draft, and now we're seeing Warriors banned out first overall. But here's what playing against each other for an entire year and then coming to an event and being able to watch each other play against other teams will do. That's a whole lot of targeted bans from the Hounds. Mercury following up that Amaterasu.
Making sure to take a little bit away from Sino on the opposite side of the board. Yamoja and Jingwei, two very staple bans right now. Definitely with the Yamoja, something that North American squads seem to favor a lot more often than the EU teams will. Jingwei becoming one of the more prominent hunters, and then throw Kalina in there. But after a game like the last one, would not be surprised at the fact that that god does get banned away. And then a Nemesis as well, who has been another very common jungle ban out. And then Baron Somni has been rising up the ranks in this tournament. We see him first picked here by the Hounds.
Yeah, can go solo, can go support. More likely is headed for the solo lane. We saw Snatty play it a couple times in his last set yesterday. Has great late game scaling, become that in-combat healer for your team, as well as having ranged initiation with the Life of the Party ultimate. So I think Baron Somni properly prioritized so far. And now you get to see a little bit more of the Wardens draft before you look towards your next round of picks. The Hounds generally, in second and third, will take themselves the Thoth and maybe a jungler in this slot, but we've seen now that Oath is willing to play just about anything and will likely wait on his pick.
Thoth still available, notably for the Hounds, something that Crimson did really well on his previous game. Would not be surprised if Crimson wanted to top pick that in these second 2 spots on the side of the Hounds, but still waiting for a little bit of time. Athena going to be one more time now for Quig. A strong game in the previous one up against Hex Mambo, some great frontline and setup.
Oh, wow.
But instead of Thoth, at least maybe for now, we'll have to see where this Uller slots exactly. That Uller being picked up. We've been seeing a lot of bans towards him, but now we'll see if finally gets picked up.
Yeah, I am just not a massive Ull fan in general right now. Just him being a burst hunter, going towards this ability style build, doesn't get the kin size, doesn't get the silver branch like a lot of these other hunters are itemizing towards. Ull, not the best user of crit either, and Wind Demon and Envenom Deathbringer still are both incredibly strong, but will have decent ability to put pressure onto picks like Hell. Generally, Ull is one of those answers to Hell. As long as she isn't really, really quick on the cleanse, that Axe combo will do a whole lot and put her out of place and allow the rest of your team to start working their way forward. But speaking of Hell, she's got some pretty great matchups up against the Hounds already. Athena, if she's confounding anyone besides the mid laner, besides this Hell herself, probably going to get cleansed out. Baron Samedi can pull a lot of people in, but is only stunning one and only for so long, as that cleanse is available as well. And similarly, Kabrakan can utilize his own ultimate to essentially ignore Baron Samedi ultimate. If you're pulled into your own wall, you're still not taking that burst of damage, you're still not getting stunned.
A couple of bans out of the Hounds will be Osiris and Sun Wukong, so a shot in the jungle and the solo lane there. And then the Wardens will take away the 2 problem children of the previous game, Thoth and Set. Both going to be banned away. Not wanting to risk whether or not this Uller is going to go to Crimson in that mid lane, so just going with the safe bet of taking away that comfort pick. And that links up Xing Chen, which, I'll be honest, similar to Bacchus, I'm surprised we've seen so little of Xing Chen with how prevalent these double hunter comps have become.
Yeah, the Ferocious Roar, just removing some of that auto attack damage has been very applicable. Xing Chen maybe not in a position to find that same level of value as Uller. I would not consider to be an auto attacker.
True.
Sure, they hit pretty hard. Sure, he's got attack speed built into his kit, but still doesn't really itemize that way, but still will be a great initiator for his team. And he's got a phenomenal matchup into Athena. Every time she wants to initiate, it's a dash forward into Confound, dash forward into a Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. You're not getting Confound off, you might just die. CC immunity in the kit for Athena, but global CC immunity. If you're using it to avoid the Xing Chen ult, you're probably not getting a whole lot of value. So I think a great selection as a counter initiator, and because the Wardens have already got Kabrakan, he can be your traditional primary initiator.
Bakasura, the pickup for the Eldritch Hounds out of the jungle, and then a Chernabog. So it does seem that this Ull could be slotted over towards Crimson in the mid lane, throwing the Chernabog over towards the duo side of the map. Though we have seen Chernabog make his way into mid in this tournament so far, just as well. How do you kind of feel about this Bakasura? In this current meta, we're seeing these double hunter, even these auto attack style junglers. They get the Executioner to maybe try and set up for some of that straight. I mean, how do you feel about Baka, especially when these games start going later?
I just don't think he's good. I think Bakasura's bad. Blanket statement. It blows my mind every single time I see this pick locked in. What does he do well? He farms the map very efficiently. He might be the fastest jungle farmer in the game, but because he doesn't have any traditional CC outside of the cripple on his ultimate, because Eat Minion essentially is not powerful enough inside of a team fight, there's just no way for him to bring the same level of pressure with a lead as something like an Arachne or something like a Nemesis. But if you are able to establish early presence with Bakasura, there are plenty of ways to leverage it towards objectives. He's really good at taking out Gold Furies and Pyromancers. I just don't love him, though. Just not a massive fan.
On the opposite side, then, how do you kind of feel about this Arachne? I mean, it's something that I think Captain Twig played once, maybe twice during the regular season of the Pro League. Outside of that, we've seen very little, if any, Arachne play at all. I mean, how do you feel about this pick?
Arachne's like the cringiest jungler in the game. Like, sure, but she's got some merits. Her 1v1 is incredibly strong. Not many gods can really line up in that late game 4-1 split. If you're wanting against Arachne, you're probably not taking that. She's got decent sustain, so she can stay out on the map a little bit more often than everyone else. And very similarly to Camazotz, she's got that get-out-of-jail-free card with the ultimate. So every single time she initiates with like Blink, tries to stick to somebody with a third ability, the stealth, the poison, if she falls low, drop that ultimate, and just skitter out of the lane or skitter wherever you need to go. Or if you want to, you can even use it to get over some of these walls or chase out your opposition. I think Arachne is slightly better, but similarly to Bakasura, pretty niche.
Kind of seems like we're in a case where the junglers may be a little bit less impactful when that late game comes as far as the team fight might be concerned. The 1v1, as you highlighted, Arachne and Baka, how does that matchup go? Who wins that 1v1 when it comes to late game?
If they both have ultimate, Arachne every single time.
Okay.
Because she's just going to leave. Oh, you regurgitated on me, surrounded by minions. Unfortunate. Oh, actually, I'm not even in this. I've completely vacated the scene. Similarly, if both of them go for Golden Blade, Bakasura's regurgitate doesn't work. We saw it multiple times yesterday with Sarpei playing Nemesis up against Bakasura. Auto attacks one regurgitated minion or auto attacks Bakasura once, and every single minion dies. If everyone's building Golden Blade, well, Bakasura is going to take a slight hit to his viability.
Well, as we start pushing onwards towards 25, 30 minutes, some initiation at least out of the Hounds in the way of Athena, maybe a little bit with the Baron Somni, but looking across the board with Kabrak and Xing Chen, do you maybe favor the Wardens a little bit more when it comes to the team fight presence?
I do. I think that the Wardens will have a decent time initiating.
Well, we're going to jump right into game number 1 between the Hounds and the Wardens right now.
Thank you, J-Mac and Mifflin.
Did you have to look?
I did have to look. I thought it was Ro. We've got Sino here on the Arachne. I'm going to agree with Mifflin here, Charlie. Maybe the cringiest jungler to start off this best of 3.
I mean, yeah, we have to see what Sino decides to do. So far, no webs down, so maybe just going for a run-of-the-mill Arachne start. Nothing like, oh, hold that thought. Looks like there will be some webs on the red buff. Where will Sino go after the fact? Probably just sit around here, try to get some farm. But if you look at the opposite side, Oath is on Baka, so both of these junglers probably building into Golden Blade, probably trying to prioritize a lot of farm early, and both of them are going to be zooming around this jungle.
So this this pickup from it's Dave and Ro here. Ro, you look different.
Yeah, you look great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've been working out, but this Bakasura here from Oath is something that he's been performing really, really well on in scrims in particular. He told me the other day.
I was gonna say, how did you know? Are you
Oh
in
no,
the scrim?
yeah, me and Oath we're tight. He was telling me he's like 5-0 in scrims on this pick, so this could be maybe this sleeper pick. We did see it once yesterday, and it didn't go so well, so we'll have to see how it works out today.
Yeah, even in the SPL, it was valued a little bit. Captain Twig notably was playing it. It's just one of those picks where you want to run to camps and to farm as quickly as possible. You don't really want to fight. You want to sort of fast track your way to late game because not too much damage at level 1 to 4. Once you get your ult, you have some solo opportunity, but anyone with an escape or relics, hold that thought. Crimson's getting blinked on.
Blinking forward, Sino trying to find the damage, but the minion wave is going to make sure that Crimson is okay for now. Sino can't really afford to take too much damage, but still level 1 is Crimson, and Sino's just walking up to the tower. He doesn't care.
Yeah, no abilities just yet. Crimson now level 3, and Oath has to jump out as well. This is a action-packed mid lane so far. Usually it's just like, we're going to clear the wave, we're going to run to camps, we're going to clear the wave. Especially with a Hell, you're like, there's no way we're going to be killing here, so much healing to deal with and the sustain, but both of these mid and jungles are trying to find pressure in that mid lane, trying to brawl as much as possible. One thing to note, Moswell's mana will be taking a bit of a toll, so anytime that's going to be going down. See, right now, not going to be able to help out too much, and Oath just up-downs here.
Sino doesn't really mind that too much, though. He's got plenty of HP. He's got plenty of healing here from Moswell. The mana is starting to drain down a little bit, but that Sands of Time is going to be, helping him spool that up basically pretty much as quickly as he can get it down. Meanwhile, Gino here on the left-hand side is looking to put a little bit of pressure on the dual lane, but back to mid. Sino still trying to kill Crimson. Moswell nearly finds the damage, but the dude is still low.
Such an obnoxious ability. It blocks the axe by the little broodling, so I really thought that as we sat here just commentating, Moswell's about to get up the cleanest kill of his life. Red buff will be invaded, though, because they sat here dancing for so long trying to defend their tower line, essentially. The red buff will be invaded. Now, the question is, where does Sino go next? My eyes are on that purple buff, and I think Sino sees the same thing.
It's exactly what he's going to do. Moving already there. Doesn't look like Eldritch Hounds are in much of a position to try and contest this, even if they knew that he was there, which I don't know that they do. Doom Ambrose is going to throw that over the wall. Not quite in range, though. A nice pull from Sino to make sure they are not even in danger of getting stolen away.
Yeah, so the Kaolin Wardens off to a small little lead here. Red buff and purple buff were stripped away, and everyone else just got their own buffs respectively, so they will be able to just sit around and farm. I didn't even realize, because it's Xing Chen v Baron, it's going to be such a boring lane there. There's no kill potential unless one of these ultimates gets used, or unless the junglers come through. I mean, yesterday we saw the Sobek and we saw the Geb, but this is a conduit gem, Xing Chen. So maybe Relentless One trying to stop the stipulation of you have to go Bombus Hammer. I want damage, and I'm going to be pushing you underneath your tower. Remakami, no mana, and pretty much sitting at that tower line. Going to be losing a fair bit of gold, at least for a little bit.
For sure, and Relentless One definitely not afraid to mix things up a little bit here. You know, we see Guardian in the solo lane. We're thinking, all right, they're just going to play it out to the late game, but absolutely could be looking for some damage here. It looks like he's going to be building into what could be a Warlock stuff early.
Yeah, it would be a lot easier to stack with the Conduit Gen props as well. You're not going to be clearing for quite some time if you go any of the average starters, but a little bit of damage will help you with that Warlock Sash. And it's going to help out. But look at this. Oath is wrapping around here, and Geno's one is already down. No slow immunity.
Dude, man, bro, already dashing, but 3 people stunned out there by Geno, but Oath drops the spit. And Geno, no shot, he survives that. 1 HP. What? The minions got him! The regurgitated minions have picked up a kill with Sino. Looking to potentially pick up Dude Man Bro here. No level 5 available for the Hunter, and that is going to be a support for ADC trade that Wardens are going to prefer.
All things considered, Geno should have been totally dead. Used the slow immunity to engage, and then realized, oh no, Oath's coming. Regurgitate comes down. Nothing to cripple out, but the minions were doing a fair bit of damage. And then Geno's like, haha, get wrecked, I got under tower, I'm just going to back here. But those minions, they don't stop chasing you. You could go to base, and they'll follow you the whole way. So, yeah, you can't forget about those ones. I think this is the benefit of a pick like Baka that people aren't used to playing too often.
Oh no, Crimson steps under the tower line and takes a shot. Geno walks in from out of the jungle. Moswell has a lot of damage potential to blink through into the stun, but the beads are solid for Crimson. Turns around, trying to find some counterplay onto Geno here, but Oath is going to be here. I'm not sure there's much kill potential, but Crimson does survive with his life.
Yeah, just going to be trying to get as much damage as possible. Doesn't have the ult and no sort of Hasten Blade to chase down. Just the Golden Blade at the moment. So a little bit of movement speed, AoE auto attack damage, but not going to be that much burn for any sort of target. And honestly, Moswell is very fast as is with the Inspire, so you can just zoom away. Also, Tier 2 Zoom Orb is built, so trying to chase down this Hell, probably not the best option right now. Oath is going to get plenty more movement speed as the game goes on. That's really when you're looking to kill the mid laner.
Got a little bit baited out by the item bought slide there for Relentless One. Buys the Ethereal Staff, sells it in favor for this Genji's Guard that he's picked up here instead. So still no reveal as to what that first item is going to build into, but the fact that he's opted to go for this Genji's Guard now, full build instead of the Warlock stuff, is maybe telling that he doesn't want to go into that stacking item.
Wait, that's big brain, because Remakami is going to have to wait until level 20 for cooldown resets. Relentless One already has it. You're waiting for Bombus Hammer, not going to be the option here. Trading out ultimates. I imagine this is what that lane is going to look like until, like, 15 minutes. I ult, you ult, we back up. I ult, you ult, we back up. Unless someone likes to get active. Oath knows that ult is down, and now we'll put a little bit of pressure towards this lane, but Relentless One's not even here. He left.
Absolutely, and well, he's gonna back off as well, going back to base, potentially finishing up.
There's no one
his,
there. What's he gonna do?
Well, yeah, exactly. He's just vibing at the moment. Goes back, finishes up his 1000-fold blade, that tier 2. Probably going into that stone-cutting sword here next to try and get a little bit of protection reduction through onto some of these chunkier targets.
You want to hear what I want it to be, the Hasten Blade? Because
no.
then what does Moswell do except run around in circles and say, guys, there's a Baka, I don't know what to do, I'm running, he's faster than me, and his auto attacks are not making him slower. So I think that'd be an interesting one as well. Probably a Toxic Blade in the future as well. Just a few auto attackers.
Maybe all the katanas.
Could be. He would.
See a full katana.
He only has 2 hands, but you can hold a few. I think his stomach actually has like
little grabby bits.
Yeah, like little grabby bits as well. So could hold all of the katanas. That's pretty much what you want to do on Baka anyway. The movement speed, attack speed. Obviously, you already have the true damage with Butcher Blades. So the more you're attacking, the more that true damage is shredding through these targets.
Absolutely, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him if he is going for this full katana tree, which he probably won't. Right? That's not probably ideal, but I am expecting to see the kin size coming out from this character later on in the game. You've got Geno, who's going to be building a lot of health, is going to be very tanky. Relentless One as well. already has a health item there in that first slot, so definitely going to be worthwhile picking that up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an Executioner from one of these hunters. Not really Crimson, I think. The Ulers typically are just going full red items, Heartseeker, Titan's Bane, that sort of thing. You want to be ability damage. Obviously, Dudeman Bro, we've seen how these auto-attack ADCs are going to build in the build. Usually doesn't change much from the Dev Gauntlets into the Wind Demon or the Kin Size. More often than not, it's the Wind Demon trying to get that crit online. So you have a lot of different forms of damage. The Executioner, of course, is going to help out, but it looks like Cyno, Oath is going in over here, and Cyno's going in on the right.
Moswell took the wrong direction to jump in, and meanwhile on the right-hand side, a successful gank from Cyno is going to seal the life of Remakami. Oath still trying to get aggressive here in the mid lane, but Gino not hit by that axe, and Moswell survives while the solo laner does not. That's got to feel bad.
Yeah, both of these junglers trying to get very active just on different sides of the map. We saw the ults trade out. Remakami and Relentless One both use their ultimates, as they have done a few times, the mirror ultimate. But this time, Cyno was around waiting, just watching to see when the opportunity to find an easy kill would be. And now we see Remakami not going into any magical defense, not worrying about Relentless One. That's going to be a Breastplate of Valor more often than not.
Just moving back into the mutual here. This lead that Kaolin Wardens started up at the start of this game has actually decreased now, Trelly, to only about 300 gold. This to me shows that Eldritch Hounds have been really, really good controlling these more neutral camps. Quig looking to get aggressive onto Griff. He goes up and straight back down. That's really, really smart usage of that Rama ult. Makes Dudeman Bro and Quig think they got to back off for a bit. Instantly comes back down. Cancels the aggression.
Yeah, didn't get any of the damage off, but also holds on to the beads, and I think that's going to be more important. Oath now realizes that ult is down, is maybe showing his face, but doesn't want a three-man split this purple buff. Dudeman Bro already a little bit behind because of falling a little earlier on, while Oath, he's 1-0, so doesn't want to take too much farm from the ADC. You want your ADC to get online quicker rather than later, so any sort of farm sapping you want to try to avoid. So smart play to just say, I'm going to run away and look for stuff elsewhere. My back camps are up. 2 of these katanas have been finished with the stone cutting, as you mentioned, so able to rotate very quickly. If you look on the flip side, Cyno's going to do the same thing.
And just finding out some targets. Now that these two junglers have those items available to them, don't be surprised to see them trying to go for more of these ganks. Remakami not able to pull Relentless One back in. That double jump is just so safe from Jing Chen.
Unfortunate that Gino's in base right now because they saw, I don't think there's any way that... Hold that thought, he's going for this. There's no way this is a good play.
Cyno is in a lot of trouble. Dudeman Bro ulting through the world, trying to find some distance onto Cyno. Not quite going to be there, but Moswell is surrounded, and he's going to get consumed by Oath. Jumping forward, Crimson still looking for some aggression. No fear from the mid laner.
Old habits die hard. In no world does Cyno live through 3 tower shots and Crimson's damage there, so I think just thought maybe there would be a world where he could dive that tower. The second I saw the fact that Crim just jumped away, I was like, this is dead. And Moswell pays for those sins. Cyno has to get out of jail free card, can just ult away, but yeah, Moswell unfortunately falls for that one, and Pyromancer will be the reward. Cyno's not done though. Knows Dudeman Bro's ult's down and is coming here, but not for a gank. He just wants some farm.
Yeah, he's just trying to steal from Griff here, which Griff has a little bit of extra gold, as you said. Dudeman Bro falls a little bit further behind right at the start there, so has a little bit more to play with, but I'm sure he's not too happy about the Spider coming over and stealing some of his farm, but potentially getting caught out again. Crimson notices Cyno. Gino's coming down the short path, but he's going to be safe under that tower.
Yeah, Gino has the blink available, Sovereignty and Witchblade, so I don't think any one of these physical characters want to get anywhere near this Kabrakan right now. Just so tanky. The attack speed slow also going to be annoying. You want to avoid that if at all possible. A lot of level 12s are coming through on the left side of the map. The Eldritch Hounds have a nice little XP deficit here where they're able to get their second relics. Obviously, Oath has beads now, so that's going to help out the dive a little bit. But still waiting on her up Crimson to get that egg, as that's going to help out again if Cyno decides to spend some time in that mid lane once again. But now the lead back in favor of the Eldritch Hounds because of what we just saw. I think Cyno overplaying his hand just a little bit there.
He clearly either overestimates the amount of damage and time to kill that he has onto Crimson, or completely forgets that the towers can throw hands now. You know, it just has to evacuate as quickly as possible. So hopefully we won't see him make that kind of mistake again anytime soon, at least until he's a little bit further up, maybe has a tank taken some
I think
of
he
those
wanted
shots
the
for
spiders to tank for him, but then they just were not, and then
they died, right?
Yeah, Crimson killed them very quickly. This time around, though, Moswell's going to have to juke again.
Regurgitate straight down, and so is Moswell. Into the ground he goes. And now with this mid laner down, we could see the Eldritch Hounds transition this into an objective as they move to the left-hand side.
Yeah, it looks like SMITE is going to wrap around here, put some spiders down, and then just sort of watch. Griff does have the snipes available. Could be. We've seen a few different Rama steals on this objective. If you're paying attention, not too many things are going to out-confirm that last strike of the Rama ult, except maybe Crimson's 3-1 combo onto the thing. But it's not going to be happening. The Gold Fury will not be pulled because right now it looks like more aggression could be happening in the duo lane. SMITE is just doing farm, though. He does not want to overcommit to anything at the moment.
Crimson is just farming tower damage at the moment. He knows he's completely safe. There's not really too much that Gino can do to him at that point, so he just gets a couple shots off. But here comes SMITE once again, but look at the damage getting done onto him. The bead's already expended, and there's the ultimate from Quig, but holding the ult is SMITE. Jumps down after those protections are granted, but Crimson's still alive. He makes it underneath the tower, but Quig might just pay for this with his life. Into the washing machine he goes. Tremble, keeping him stuck there, and Oath blinks forward, trying to find SMITE. Has to jump away, though. No further engagements from the Wardens, but that is going to be, well, actually, you know, it's just quick.
It's going to be a Gold Fury pull is what it is going to be. Oath did not have Regurgitate available. That could have been a lot of AoE damage if the ult was up, and it looks like Relentless One will be on zone duty. Dude Man Bro can walk up to this, and it's getting pretty low, about half health right now.
Doesn't have a lot of steal options, really does Dude Man Bro. There's the 2 going down. The pop isn't going to be successful. Dashes into that wall. Oath, I like this play from Oath. Just dropping that Regurgitate to stop Relentless One from being able to jump after his ADC.
Yeah, not only is it a slow, it's also a cripple, so no more jumps, no more dashes, any sort of movement ability to chase down his ADC. Stops that one in his tracks. I think a worse jungler probably drops the ult there and tries to get damage, but Oath recognizes, I'm 3-0. This shutdown gold is pretty massive. I'm level 15, by the way.
For sure.
So anyone who will get the last hit on me, that's going to give them a fair chunk of change. I'm going to jump away. I need my life to be more valuable, and he will. He'll run away and just go back to farming. If you're noticing, Sino's level 13, trying to get more active on the map, find ganks. Oath has been focusing on the farm game. 3 kills, though. That is going to help out towards that XP as well.
Now, if we can have a look at the player damage, just look at that. Top of the charts already, even above the solo laners here, 15 minutes into the game, and that's no easy feat. Obviously, Remakami here doing a little bit more to Relentless One, but staying neck and neck with that side lane that is doing nothing but brawling is impressive.
Yeah, if you listen to Mifflin, who I guess this was a JMac quote because of Mifflin saying that, you know, solo laners, you got to remove about 5,000 damage in the later stage, so Remakami essentially hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, no, that's I've heard that too. I've also heard that statement be made.
By Mifflin or just by anyone?
By Mifflin specifically.
Okay, well then now we both, you know, I've suggested it and you confirmed it. Now we know exactly what's going on. Pyromancer, though, will be spawning here shortly. The Eldritch Hounds are probably, yeah, they are going to be posturing around this. They have some wards in hand, so trying to get vision will be the name of the game. They want to make sure they're able to get this pretty quickly, but it looks like all of the Wardens besides the ADC are going to be here just in case.
Look at the amount of damage that Scream did onto Crimson. It was the Ethereal Staff being built there by Relentless One in the end, so even those small abilities from the Guardian, which, you know, Jing Chen doesn't have the highest base damage of Guardians in the game. Gino actually does have a lot of damage, but it's going to be a lot of damage put onto him. Half HP for the support on the Kaolin Wardens, and that is potentially an opening that the Hounds can use to pull this objective.
Yeah, the Hounds play this very well, making sure to poke down both the tanks on the Wardens. If you look, Relentless One and Gino about half health. Gino is healing up a little bit from Moswell. 50-50, not going to be good. A little too late on the party, and Gino wasted an ult there. Looks like Relentless One will jump back into lane, but Oath is not close enough. I don't think there's going to be any aggression here.
Probably not, but Relentless One still is going to take a decent amount of damage from Remakami. I feel like if Relentless One didn't have his ultimate available for him there, Remakami could have jumped up onto the coffin.
Yeah, it looks like if Oath was also putting some stock in this lane, that would have been a gank opportunity, but he's a farm goblin right now. Anytime he sees a camp up on his side of the map, he is running to it as quickly as possible, and it's showing, again, in the XP, 2-level lead on Sino, making sure to steal away as much as possible, while Quig is taking away those offerings. The Trebuchet is sitting right now in right lane. There's going to be another one spawning here shortly. I think they're trying to stack these up. One in left, one in right. No one's looked at FG just yet, but anytime one of these objectives is going to be pulled, you can send out those Trebuchets and just split your opponent's attention.
Absolutely, they're a dangerous tool. We've been seeing throughout the whole week so far how much damage those Trebuchets can deal to these towers when left alone with them. You know, I'm talking like maybe 5 shots can half hit a tier 1 tower.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They
It's
do
absolutely
a
crazy.
fair bit. I would say over 200 damage a shot.
Yeah.
Once they start going through, you can't ignore them. Is basically
For sure.
the conversation, and because minions are going to start, your waves are just going to win because you have the trebuchet, and then once it gets to the tower, hits from outside the range. You always got to watch out. So I think the Eldritch Hounds playing this very smart, keeping them in the back, not sending them out just yet until maybe this Oni Fury spawns, or maybe even after the fact, waiting for that Fire Giant. Splitting the attention of the Wardens is going to do some great numbers because a lot of single target damage on this team with Sino, for example. Arachne only really wants to attack one person at once. One person being gone, that's going to split their damage pretty hard. It looks like, yeah, I was going to say pinged out immediately. Sino is hiding in the castle camp and left, and they're pinging like, hey, I think there's a spider over there, so just like watch out. And Dude Man Bro, he's not going to walk up to that.
Absolutely not. And you know what I want to highlight right here, Trelly, is the relic choices from Quig. Rather the completion of the relics, not necessarily the choices themselves. Now has that Cursed Unk fully upgraded for this next fight with Moswell, who's really going to start pulling out these healing numbers in the next couple fights.
So I spoke recently, I mean, not recently, at the beginning of the game, that Moswell is going to have some hard time running away from Oath. And it seems like Moswell knew that too. So instead of going for an Aegis or a Shell, just going for the sprint, trying to zoom away from Baka as quickly as possible, I think it's actually going to be a smart play. There's not too much hard CC you have to worry about. As long as you're staying back and not getting taunted, you can just pop your heal, run away as fast as possible. But Sino and Oath are both here in solo.
Relentless One gets stunned out by the Coffin, and Oath is jumping in. There's nothing available for the Jing Chen. Sino getting chewed through now. Moswell on his way over with Gino, but the ultimate from Quig is going to find some damage. And Dude Man Bro rotates over as well. Here's Crimson 2, and Gino finds himself up against 5, and now down in the ground. And Trelly, I know this team, and I think this could be a Fire Giant call.
Yeah, Dude Man Bro is here. Look at Griff. He can't fly over. That's not what Rama Ult does. Chernobog has the advantage here, and it looks like Crimson is just playing zone duty. No one is going to be even close to this FG. With 2 dead, the Wardens have no defense available, and the Fire Giant will go the way of Hounds. Just a beautiful play, even though it looked like a 2v2. Solo v jungle, solo v jungle. You have so many globals. Quig gets there with the ultimate right away, and then Dude Man Bro follows suit as well. This is the strength of this draft they went for. Sure, on paper, it looks like just double ADC, Baron. We've seen this plenty of times. But Chernobog and Athena specifically can say, hey, we're over here on the left side of the map, we swear, and then instantly just join the fight. And that's going to cost Fire Giant, and pretty soon it's going to cost the Oni Fury as well.
And it's the buffs that come alongside that as well. You know, Quig can make sure that basically whoever he's ulting is not in any way, shape, or form in danger. All the while, Dude Man Bro's flying over, he's slowing every single member of the enemy team. That's a lot of debuff and a lot of pressure that you can put on the Wardens when rotating into this 5v5 fight. And a beautiful demonstration of just what you can do when you even crack open the door just a little bit. They get 2 on the right-hand side. The Fire Giant follows suit. The Gold Fury picked up as well. And now the Eldritch Hounds are looking to siege up this left-hand side.
Yeah, I think the Wardens are playing this smart, though. Defense, probably not your best option. Just try and split the farm as much as you can. There's Oni waves you have to defend as well. So Moswell clearing out as much in mid as possible. Now we'll have to run back because you don't want to give up this Phoenix for free, but it looks like Relentless One and Sino are still backing, so they might go for this as quickly as possible. But I think they hesitated just a little bit, and now they're going to have to wait. Probably just going for that tier 2 in mid first.
Better safe than sorry. The lineup from the Kaolin Wardens does assemble relatively quickly, so the Eldritch Hounds could have found themselves in a bit of a rough situation if they, you know, if they lined up too quickly and tried to take that Phoenix. So I think it's a smart call from them. They go to mid, they pick up a second tier 2 tower, only 1 left on the map now. And look at this gold swing, Trelly. Just in the last 3 minutes, that gold lead of about 3,000, 4,000 has doubled and surged all the way up to 8K.
Yeah, most good roller coasters start like that, where you just start going, going, going. Hopefully, you know, if you're an Eldritch Hounds fan, there's no massive drop on this one. They finally are going to send those trebuchets out, 1 in right, 1 in left. There is still a tier 2 tower in right, but if you're splitting your attention and trying to defend your Phoenix, I think the trebuchet should be able to get that one for you. It takes a while to push, so it looks like the Eldritch Hounds are staggering. They're not going to go for that left-hand Phoenix just yet. They're going to slow it down. Dude Man Bro, actually, I like this play too. Will push the wave himself and then possibly ult over with the Nightmare and help out the squad whenever need be. And if you're going to send someone over to 1v1 him, once again, splitting the team thin.
For sure, yeah, and this Trebuchet is perfectly positioned here. We often talk about the power of this left-hand side Phoenix. The reason for that is that ability to take the right-hand side objectives for free. That's Fire Giant specifically. When you've got those fire minions pouring into the left-hand side, positioning these Trebuchets in this way means that Kaolin Wardens have to put one of their teammates really far away to defend the right side or the left side objective. And now pushing up, Dudeman Bro might have to fly over soon because it looks like the Eldritch Hounds are looking to start getting aggressive as that left-hand Trebuchet gets close.
Okay, Oath's been getting very active, but he has all 5 kills. I didn't even realize. I understood that he was around these fights, but he's gotten the last hit. That's a greedy Baka, and he will be in the right side of the map, and he's going to go for that tower. It looks like only Sino is here to defend right now. Relentless One has to rotate away, spreading the team thin once again. It looks like Dudeman Bro could ult over that side if he wants to help out, but Relentless One blinks in.
That's going to be the scoop up from Dudeman Bro, but he just dashes straight into the wall, and there's the ultimate popped by him to just make sure he's not getting pulled into the washing machine. Dashes over to the left-hand side, though, instantly gets stunned up by Gino, forced to use the beads, and that's both the relics down already, but the Phoenix falls, and Gino is going to be one step behind him. Down he goes, and now on the right-hand side, Relentless One gets eaten by Bakasura as the Eldritch Hounds Trilly are in such a masterful, advantageous position to take down this Titan. 2 Phoenixes fall. Crimson, though, could be in some trouble. Sino up in the sky. The juke is going to be good. Beautiful taunt from Quig to save the life of the mid laner.
Yeah, Rup Crimson dies there so many times if he doesn't juke that out, but even so, the taunt after the fact from Quig keeps him alive. There's some low health bars here if you're on the... Nope, he's gone.
Griff is just annihilated, and Moswell is going to follow right behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, in convincing fashion of 24 minutes, the Eldritch Hounds pull it down and win the game.
Well, it looks like Oath did not have 100% of those kills, ended up only getting 7 out of the 10 once it stopped.
No.
But when that Phoenix Siege started, he had 5 of 5. So very advantageous position, as you mentioned. I think playing the global comp so well. You have this double ADC, but then you can get anywhere you want, spreading the team thin. Then you get this massive gold lead, and then how are you going to defend that Phoenix when you have to worry about the Bakasura that can essentially 1v1 anyone on the map with Dudeman Bro? And then once Dudeman Bro got scared, he said, I'm going to go over here and kill this Phoenix instead.
Yeah, and it's just that power of the Bakasura scaling so quickly. Dudeman Bro, sorry, not Dudeman Bro, Oath had such a interesting start. There was a lot of damage coming through from Arachne in that early game, in that mid lane, getting a lot of pressure onto the Bakasura. As soon as Oath was able to take a step away, farmed up, and just consumed the enemy team. But it's not up to us to break this one down, Charlie. We're going to throw it back to the desk. Let's see what's up.
I don't know. I think they did a pretty solid job of giving us a nice little breakdown there of that game. I think
So just go to P's and B's?
Yeah, I think we just cut to P's and B's. Look at the post game stats. No, and I think Charlie's right to highlight a lot about this this double global composition that came through. The Athena, the Chernobog, both being able to really rotate across this map super effectively. If you're having trouble on one push on a side, you just both ult those to the other side of the map and decide to take that side instead.
Yeah, the Eldritch Hounds, I was evaluating whether or not their composition would stack up in that late game 30-minute time. Why am I doing that when the Eldritch Hounds are playing? These guys are not playing for that point. It's all about that early pressure, and I think starting with Oath is a great place to go because maybe I'd slandered his selection a little bit in P's and B's. Bakasura, generally a pick that isn't quite able to get his hands dirty, but that's exactly what Oath does very early on, and once he establishes his pressure, continues to do so. That's a fun clip because it's the regurgitated minions that actually net him first blood, and from there, Oath able to transition himself into a very, very strong mid-game. They brought up right at the tail end there the global presence of Quig on this Athena. I think that is a great talking point as well. Every single time Oath decided to rotate over towards the soul lane, every single time he was getting involved on the opposite side of the map, you better believe that Athena ult is going to be hot on his heels. The Eldritch Hounds just leveraging all that global presence and early pressure to establish these leads, to get them in towards these Gold Furies, to get them in towards these Fire Giants. And, well, the Kaolin Wardens, they got outscaled very quickly.
And one of the things we briefly touched on at the very end of the death segment before jumping into this game was the amount of initiation that the Kaolin Wardens did have. You have a Xing Chen, you have a Kabrakan, 2 great gods to be able to get into that backline very quickly. Unfortunately for the Wardens, the Hounds never let them have the opportunity to initiate. Every single fight was started by the Hounds in this early stage, and especially as we jump to these very end team fights in game number 1. So unfortunately for the Wardens, they now fall down. They're sitting 0-1 in this set, 1 game away from having to play yet another one. And just like the days before, if you lose in this set, you got to wait until that 5th one. So you just got some time, at least to see and scout out your competition. That's a long wait, and you're just going to start cooling down a bit.
But the Wardens are never the veteran team, so I'm not sure if they're going to go down without at least a little bit of fight back. I'd be surprised if this set ends in 2. The Kaolin Wardens have got plenty of pedigree behind them. They're no strangers, each one of these individual players, that is, to this circumstance. They've gone down in sets before and have been able to claw themselves back in. So I trust to see some adaptations going forward. And I think the adaptation is clear. You've got 2 options. The Kaolin Wardens can either draft even more early game presence and try and just meet the Eldritch Hounds at their own game, or maybe go the path of Hex Mambo. I wouldn't, because Hex Mambo got eliminated pretty quickly by the Hounds. But if you want to draft for that hyper late game and just hunker down, try your best to just tuck your chin and deal with that early game pressure, I would like to see that early game presence, though. I think that is just the most exciting version of SMITE.
Yeah, bring us back to more of that more traditional North American style of play that we're more accustomed to with the SEC. We're used to these guys having these 24, 25-minute games, just beat down, drag out slugfest over anything else. And that's kind of what both these teams have found success on throughout the entirety of Phase 1 of the SEC. And especially with the Hounds, you can see the dominant performance that they've had here in game number 1. They'll have to see if they can continue that trend, though, in Game 2. Now the Wardens know what the Eldritch Hounds are willing to play. Now that they know that kind of play style is waiting for them, that the Eldritch Hounds are not trying to play for 35 minutes. As you said, maybe for the Wardens, either try and double down and jump in that same style of play, or really try and hunker down for that late game.
And I think that the Wardens had a composition that could have gotten involved in the early. I was really surprised to see the start from Sino on that Arachne. Generally, it's the, hey, I'm going to web up a couple buffs and I'm going to be in the dual lane at wave 1. And that's generally how Arachne likes to play. I suppose maybe just the threat of it, Sino saying they're probably worried about exactly that. They're preparing the Hounds, that is, for this early style gank. If it doesn't work out for me, I'm going to fall behind in farm just by rote because I'm laning it, or jungling rather, against a Bakasura. So instead decided to go for that slower paced Arachne. I'm not sure you should be doing that, though. If you're locking in Arachne, do it. Like, go all the way with it. Play that style. Instead, it was a very traditional jungle pathing from Sino that I think maybe could have cost the Wardens a bit of their early pressure. A lot of that composition was contingent on Sino establishing pressure for his team so that Moswall would get to the point where he's scaling incredibly hard, becomes a really difficult to kill Hell, who can just use that cleanse to stop the initiation of the Eldritch Hounds. But that never came up because the Hounds were just dominating the map.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of when I think of Arachne, I'm thinking that I'm going to have to forfeit like my first 4 or 5 buff rotations, and I'm just not simply going to be allowed to walk up to a lane. But was not the case, at least for the Hounds. They were able to push up and take game number 1. And if the Kaolin Wardens decide that this is a game where they need to now double down and try and push up against this early game pressure, specifically talking to about Moswall, because Moswall has been playing a lot more of these late game schedules, these Opwashes, Hells. Zeus was even one that he was playing prior. Do you think that is a change, at least for the Wardens, that they need to make to try and fight back?
I mean, Moswall is just so talented at these early aggressive picks like Zeus that I think that it would fit the Kaolin Warden style if they want to meet the Eldritch Hounds in the early game. That said, Moswall has been playing the game for a very long time at some of the highest level of play that is possible in SMITE and is very capable of playing literally everything in the Mage tab. But for those of you who were watching back in the Season 4, Season 3, back when Moswall was, air quotes, in his prime, he was playing the exact same picks that we're seeing him play today and in the last couple of days. So I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go back towards his Opwash, towards his Zeus, even towards the Vulcan. But I wouldn't mind seeing Moswall pick something that can just really, really get aggressive. If he wants to play a Hunter in mid, I know he's very capable of doing so. If he wants to play something that could just match the pressure that I know Sino loves to play with in the jungle as well, I think that's the best version of the Wardens that we're going to get the chance to see. But that's a risky style. If you want to be the early game aggressor, if you want to be the initiator, that is a lot of onus put on you. It's a lot of pressure put on you. And especially when you're down game 1 in a best of 3 set, match point for the opposition, a lot of these teams in both the SPL and the SEC will generally slow down their own pace and try and make no mistakes. It's more so, okay, well, hopefully the other side's making the mistakes and we can punish them for it rather than creating opportunities yourself.
And we're talking a lot about, this jungle and mid presence. I kind of want to shine over now towards the dual lane a little bit more. I mean, solo lane does their own thing. However early they decide to get involved is one bit. But with this dual lane, Quig going for this more global style of Athena, maybe not necessarily going to ask if the Wardens need to take a ban towards Athena because there's so many other picks that Quig could easily drop out. I think of immediately the first one that comes to mind is the E-set and then the Yemoja as well for him. But when it then comes down to the dual lane matchup, Dude Man Bro and Griff, it just feels like Griff was never able to get comfortable in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Griff was left alone for the most part in that lane. Gino was trying his best to match the power of Quig all the way across the map. Best of luck chasing down an Athena. She teleports to gods. It's pretty hard to follow her around. So instead, I'd like to see Gino in particular try and play his own style rather than playing follow Quig, because you're just not going to do it unless you've banned out the Athena, as you said, which I doubt we are going to see. Maybe we can see Gino play something that has more mobility inherently, or maybe he decides to play his own style and sit in that lane with Griff, because when the Kaolin Wardens do have the two-man stack in the duo lane, it has very quickly become one of the win conditions for the Wardens. They are a very aggressive duo that have hit the ground running consistently. This time around, or in game one, we didn't really get the opportunity to see it.
Well, we will see not just the emoji in the cleanup, but an Athena ban. So the Wardens are very worried about the global presence that Quig had in game one. So they'll take that one out. The Hounds will ban away Ama, Mercury, and Jing Wei, which leaves Nemesis open, who has been the receiver of quite a few bans in just today, even yesterday. It seems that a lot of teams are putting a heavy stock in this assassin.
And it's one of Sino's signature picks. Fits his style very, very well. Has that great early game presence. The auto cancels, the slice and dice, just a deceptive amount of burst considering she's really only got the 1 or 2 dedicated damage buttons. The ultimate, I suppose, if you want to count that as well. And then also, similarly, scales very, very well into the late game. Has great matchups against the Bakasura. I think Nemesis probably has one of the best, if not the best, matchup into him. So even in taking Nem for themselves, has limited Oath's ability to go back towards that Bakasura pick. I really like this overall. It's not flex, though. Nemesis has historically got like 1 or 2 games in the Soul lane. I don't want to see that again today. I know Sino's very capable of playing this pick, and that is generally where she has found her home. So the Wardens do show that, but generally still a plug-and-play god. The only thing that Nemesis tells me about this draft is that the jungler is going to be lacking in CC, which means you have to find it somewhere else. And with this Kumakarna hover and now lock-in, you found your CC. He's got probably enough to carry an entire team.
You got CC in spades in this guy between, what, a Root, a Mez, a Banish, essentially, with that epic uppercut. And now you have a Heimdall with another Banish. Essentially, you could take 2 people out of a fight entirely with this Warden's draft for seconds at a time. And in a game like this, with how much damage is coming across, 2-3 seconds should be enough to find a kill onto somebody. The Eldritch Hounds, they'll lock out the rest of their draft, at least here for the top 3, with an Uller over towards that mid lane.
Yeah, the Hounds top 3 is a pretty high execution composition. Every time you've got double Hunter, the comp becomes harder and harder to execute on once you get to those late game team fights, especially if you are in an even state. But I said at the top of the desk, and I'm going to say it again, I'm not evaluating the Hounds' ability to play that late game, because we heard from Crimson earlier in an interview that they're not doing that, and that's not their best portion of the match. So how can you leverage this in the early? If it is Baron Samedi solo, and I think it likely is, you can trust him to hold his own in lane for the most part, barring a couple of ganks from Nemesis. Rom as well can just play very passively in whatever lane he wants, utilize that ultimate as a secondary Aegis. So what can you do with the Hounds to establish your pressure? Play around this Ull. Pick a jungler that can match that level of aggression, and then continually leap in aggressively. There are not many lanes or gods in mid that are going to survive the aggression of an assassin plus Ull. They're both going to be likely very mobile. You've got ranged stuns with the Axe Toss, and it's going to put a lot of pressure onto whoever the Wardens decide to pick for Moswell.
Bit of time being taken by the Hounds on their second ban. Sun Wukong, the first one in the second round of those. And on the opposite side, the Wardens ban away Set, just to make sure that Oath doesn't get to have a field day there. And here's a very interesting ban, to say the least, or maybe not so much with the team that they're going up against. Camazotz, as we've been seeing a lot more of the jungle, but Relentless One is known for this Camazotz play, and the Hounds don't want to take any chances of giving that over to him.
No, ban it out. Camazotz, I think, has fallen off a fair bit, but still is very strong, has got the ability to lifesteal very well in the laning phase. If you are tossing him over to the soul lane, he's still able to go for a slightly more damage-centric build, but maintain that layer of safety that is the Bat Out of Hell ultimate. So I'm surprised that we haven't seen him prioritized at all so far this week, but finally maybe a little bit of respect as he is banned out in the second phase by the Hounds, who are taking their time as they try and figure out what they want 4th overall for their squad. looking at what the Wardens have got, Nemesis, Kumbhakarna, and Heimdall. Heimdall, an incredibly safe pick. Nemesis, a pick that is largely very slippery. Kumbhakarna, very slippery as well. But none of them really deal very well with walls, things that can slow down some of their rotation. So I think CC could be the name of the game, or I suppose the best CC is just a death. Water Spout into Crushing Wave, Water Cannon, anything along those lines is going to put a lot of pressure onto these picks. Heimdall in particular, sure, can immune the knockup with the Gallarhorn, but once that's been expended, if he's standing inside of his Bifrost, unless he's popped his beads, Hebo can force you to reset that charge up. So I like that matchup into Heimdall in particular. Similarly, I love it into Vulcan. Vulcan, back in the day when he was that consistent pick, when he was locked in a lot more often, Habois was the answer. It's okay, sure, backfire, meatball, peel me off. Doesn't matter if you're dead before you touch the ground off the knockup.
And then Nox to round out the draft. So no traditional tanks on the side of the Eldritch Hounds, as they've elected to grab 3 mages and 2 hunters. 2 of those going to more frontline style of plays in the solo and the support role. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, the Kaolin Wardens round their draft out with a Basset. So still wanting to get relentless, something a bit more aggressive over in that solo lane. And this is something that we saw as an answer to the Baron Samedi yesterday. You pick 2 assassins, and you just bully him as much as you can.
Yeah, so Baron Samedi might be in some trouble over there in the short lane, but as long as he's able to get to that second item, maybe he even forgoes Warlock Staff in first slot just to pick up the Breastplate of Valor a little bit earlier on. Could help out a fair bit against double assassin, getting that defense online as quickly as possible. Going to be very impactful. Additional CDR to keep him sustained in lane as well could go a long way. The concerns I had about the Hounds draft, just looking at the top 3 of being high execution, have been expanded on. Now you've got no traditional initiator. You've got no traditional backline either. The Hounds really are just, we need to win out early and we need to play with that lead, because if they go to an even state in a 5-on-5 engagement, the Warden's traditional draft is traditional for a reason, because it traditionally just works. The Hounds, on the other hand, anything but.
Yeah, it feels like we're almost watching like a Jade Dragon style of draft when it comes down to the Hounds, between the Habois Uller, immediately I think of like Pagon, Panda Cat, and Sam for Soccer with picks like that, and then the Nox just being able to be one of the more annoying gods to deal with in that support role. Something that
she's the most.
Probably, yeah, the most. Nox or ESET for most of Nox's support to deal with?
Nox.
Okay.
Yeah, I get hit by like a Spear Bomb. Like, all right, that's on me. I probably could have dodged it. I get hit by Shadow Lock, and I'm like, all right, let me go get a drink of water, I guess. Let me walk off for a moment. So Nox most annoying. Maybe not my best analysis work, though.
No, imagine, though, if you had the Nox and the Kumba on the same team. That I'm probably I'm probably just F6ing at 5 minutes at that point. I don't think I'm even loading into that game.
I think that's a competitive ruling.
I think
like, you get fined.
I think I'm uninstalling my game if those 2 are on a team comp at the exact same time. I'm not even loading it at that point.
That is, you got a fragile mental over there, bud.
Bro, I'm not playing against a massive mez into a giant silence like that. You kidding me? I'm not dealing with that.
Fair enough. And luckily you won't have to, because that's not in this game.
Yeah, thankfully I and none of the players have to deal with that, because they're all going to be opposite sides. So with this style of draft the Eldritch Hounds have picked up, they're definitely sliding for this first 20 or so minutes. If they don't get a significant lead in that first 20, does this now slant more towards the Kaolin Wardens?
I'm not sure that 20 minutes is the hard timer, because it feels like solo laners really are waiting around that 25-minute mark to rotate out. So let's say what you said, but at 25 minutes.
Okay, so we'll push it a little bit further, and we'll see if the Kaolin Wardens can push this set further as we jump into Game 2.
That's what they're going to need to do if they don't want to jump down into that losers side of the bracket. Only 1 game left for the Eldritch Hounds to secure their place in tomorrow's set of games. Trelly, it's you and me being Blazy Bud.
Okay, so I'm Trelly, you're Blazy.
That's right.
Okay,
I mean, we can go the other way. And look, see, yeah, it's not Dave and Ro on this set.
Okay, well, now we know. And we're looking at these matchups here. Oath going to be on the Hebo, trying to get ahead early as the desk highlighted, but you're up against Nemesis with Blink. Sino, probably not going to want to let you get to that point where you get a crushing wave and you can 1v1 her every time you find her in the jungle. Sino, I imagine is going to try to get active, but you're pairing that with an Uller up. Crimson going to have the axe, a lot of shutdown. We saw a lot of action in this mid lane last game, where it was just brawling back and forth, but not so much sustain on the side of the Wardens this time. Oswald on the Vulcan. We know that he loves this Vulcan, but there's no healing on Vulcan.
No, for sure. Sino does have a little bit of that sustain, though. Has the shield, if he can time it right, to get some of that healing back on the Reflect. But You're absolutely right. There's not as much safety for the Kaolin Wardens. I would expect maybe a little bit of slower pace coming towards this mid lane this time around, especially with both Oath and Sino on these pretty late game based guards.
Yeah, for sure. And Nem definitely has the potential to just shred you down, but Hebo just Water Spout, Crushing Wave, gone. Like, it's going to be so difficult to survive that. Even at like level 5, you're hitting everything, especially because Rob Crimson can help out, poke with the Hail of Arrows, and then you're dealing with no HP and the Juke Shoes. But Moswell he's used to that. I'm telling you, the movement speed, Bill, hold that thought.
Oath able to get that knock up, and Sino slicing and dicing him, but the backfire nearly takes out enough. Oath surviving with just a little bit of health here at level 2.
Oh, Sino does have Blink here, so maybe keeping your health bars low. Rob Crimson probably spots this one out and wants to follow suit. You don't have too much CC. A knock up into an axe could do a lot of damage, but also Oath is just getting hit by the meatballs so much right now.
Oh, there's the axe, and Sino takes a lot of damage. I think if the water spell connects there onto Sino, that's a dead nemesis.
There is a lot of damage that they have, so you got to watch out for that at all times. Obviously, just going for the farm game instead going to be the option. Sino still holding on to that blink, so anytime someone gets a little bit too low, you're going to have to watch out to see where Sino goes. Right now, though, just the back camps for both of these junglers. Given the state of the match and the passive Nox and Kumba that we're seeing right now, I don't imagine there's going to be too many sparks flying until these junglers try to get involved. Right now, they're just doing the farm game.
Absolutely, yeah. Quig not really the master of getting pressure here on that Nox. Same with Gino on the Kumbhakana. These two characters not really having a lot of that early game advantage, and even then, Rema Kami in some trouble here, able to get the heal off, so I think he'll be just fine there. But the blue buff could be in danger, and Moswell, surely he falls down here, and with one more well-placed basic attack, Erupt Crimson picks up first blood.
And that's going to be a massive solo kill to start off Erupt Crimson's tear. Again, this Vulcan pick, it doesn't get picked too much for a reason. Vulcan just not that much early pressure, ult hard to confirm, Cripples really shut down that backfire. Moswell really the only one whipping out this pick right now. Doesn't have the Doom Orb or the Charon's coin, so a much easier target. You have to save that turret for the Ularax, and if you don't, you're essentially, you're going to get soloed like just happened.
Absolutely. Gino stepping up here just to try and contest this bubble buff a little bit, but normally he wouldn't be in much danger, but with Oath stepping around the corner, it could be a very different tale. Gino is going to fall down here, passive procced as well for a second early game kill here for the Eldritch Hounds. That's 2 in 3 minutes.
I got to give respect to the Hounds because it was a great game, recognizing the buff spawn and that Gino was going to be there, but also they just stopped autoing the Kumba passive and just let Oath have it. If that's me, I'm going for the last hit. Even if this is a game 2 scenario, we got to win, we won our Hebo ahead, I'm still trying to steal that. I mean, it's more fun that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to keep that air of competition between the teammates. But this is the way that the Eldritch Hounds like to play, right? Oath very much the playmaker for this team. They really like to channel that energy through him. Griff steps up. A miss on the Shadow Lock there from Quig, though. A blink forward from Gino could be some trouble for Dude Man, bro. Beats expended. There's the Gallahorn trying to find the knock-up. One more auto should do it, but the juke to the left and a roll is going to help Dude Man, bro escape to safety.
Yeah, it all started with Quig missing that Shadow Lock, and now Griff takes over to level 5, so probably staying very far back. If you look, Sino was thinking about coming over, but then probably thought better against it. Underneath that tower, you really are going to have to hit everything, and at that point you still are looking at some trouble. Oath, though, also level 5, has made his way over to Duo.
Gino, once again, the target of this aggression. The Mesmerize is going to keep him safe for now, but there's the Crushing Wave from Oath. Tries not to get rooted out, but there's the Shadow Lock. Quig locks him down from a distance and shows us why Nox is just so bad to play against.
Yeah, the amount of lockdown that Nox is going to bring is going to be absurd. Not even that much cooldown right now. Nox, typically not your best option in mid because of her long cooldowns, but because you don't have to worry about it too much in the duo lane, then you can build those CC, and then that's when it really starts to get annoying. Quig off to a great start, and now you got 2 kills on a Crimson, who should be stacking Transcendence very shortly up against a Vulcan. And then you have a kill onto the Hebo jungle, you're off to a great start.
Yeah, this Doom Orb nearly finished up for Oath. If we look at the Golden Hand just to see how much time he's got before he can finish that one off. He's getting close there. Only needs about Well, what is that, like about another 250 gold to finish this one up?
I was gonna let you do the math yourself, but
I'm
yes,
really bad at math,
Yeah,
Charlie.
I was wondering why you committed to that. Then you could have just said, "Yeah, beta gold,"
Yeah,
and then
you
that
need
would have been
some
done.
gold.
But you wanted the exact number, so you were right.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah, well now you know.
Yeah, 250 gold. Should be able to pick it up after another camp or two. So Oath is going to start zooming around the map very shortly here. And I think this Hubwa is really one of those characters. It takes a while to get there. You need that damage online before you can really start 100 to 0ing people. But with this lead that he's starting to get here, he might be able to bring that to fruition a little bit further. I say that though, and Sino's actually sitting about a half level above.
Yeah, at the moment, Sino's been farming where Oath has been getting a little bit more active. The kill and the assist means that Oath had to sit around somewhere for a little bit and find those. Looks like Quig is sort of looking at this red buff, but doesn't have too much damage, especially not to out-confirm a Vulcan with Doom Orb at the moment. So not going to really look towards that red buff, just sort of watch. At least maybe, you know, get the timer if he peeked his head out a little bit more. Up Crimson, though. I was going to say maybe no Sinos here, but was just going for the gold shells there, trying to stack up that obelisk. It would have been fun if he just met with a hail of arrows over the wall.
That would have been absolutely fantastic. I would have enjoyed that too. Sino in, I would say he's in a bit of a rough position, but I think he'll be just fine. Quig getting routed out here by Gino, as there is a bit of a grouping from the Kaolin Wardens over to this right-hand side. Quig has spotted this one out, though. Stops Relentless One in his tracks. The damage from Oath is good so far, but Gino has wrapped around the back. Quig gets hit by that ultimate. Look at Relentless One's HP bar. So low. Jumping forward is Crimson, trying to find the damage, but doesn't quite predict the right direction for the Relentless One. He's going to get out just fine.
That was so much damage. I really thought that Crimson was about to go in for another finish, but yeah, it's hard to juke around 3 different members while you're trying to last hit someone. I respect the, I'm going to back off here because I am 2-0. We don't want to give the shutdown goal to anyone. This time, though, Moswell going to be at the mean end of an axe.
Yeah, takes a lot of damage from that as well. That's, what, 3 auto attacks and an axe onto Moswell already. Level 8, 25 stacks for Erupt Crimson. This is, when I say this isn't even his final form, it's 100% true and unironic. This is just the start of the amount of damage this Uller is going to bring to the table.
Yeah, especially because right now Moswell is just a simple Vulcan with Doom Orb. Vulcan, one of those picks that, again, does not do much damage right now. Later stage of the game is going to have fun. Uller, he's arrived. It's really just Transcendence and Bluestone, especially when you're up against a mage. You don't have to worry about like getting out-traded by auto attacks. It's really just, I'm going to throw an axe, I'm going to poke you out from a distance. I'm never going to worry about your abilities because I'll have time to think about what I want to do, think about what I'm wearing tomorrow while your ult's being channeled. Earthshaker takes a while to hit the ground.
True, absolutely true. Moswell, though, has taken some steps to try and avoid that. Has the Doom Orb online, has chosen for that now, probably rather than the Charon's coin, to get that movement speed online a little bit faster. Just trying to get himself into a position where he can, in fact, outrun his bow.
Yeah, but it looks like Charon's coin may be on the menu. Second item, again, just trying to get as much movement speed as possible, because if you can't axe if you can't turret every axe, maybe you can simply backfire and juke every axe. I like the play style, and I will say, with Gino on this Kumba, I would love to see the epic uppercut into the Earthshaker combo. Just ult, send him up, and serve him on a silver platter. Gino, though, is pretty deep here. Might find the ult.
But Oath gets knocked straight up into the sky. Gino really puts Oath into a bad position. Jumping over the wall is Relentless One, sends the cat out. Oath has to try and get away from that route. And Gino's going to turn around. Ramakami doesn't have the same privilege, though. He's going to fall down for the first kill onto the board for the Kaolin Wardens. Gino still going super aggressive into this jungle.
Yeah, Moswell does use the ultimate to confirm the kill on Ramakami. Doesn't get the last hit, but a fair bit of damage. I was expecting to see it off the epic uppercut, but it's not like Sylla ult where it's instant again. There's some time where Oath could have just ulted to immune it in that case, so saving it for the immobile Baron Samedi, I think probably a better option. And now, as you mentioned, the Wardens are on the board, and if you look, they're in the lead too. Just a little bit of gold in their favor, despite the fact that it was 3-0. That kill was really all it took to push them over the edge. They were farming a little bit better, and now they're fighting a little bit better in that time.
That's a really good thing that they really need to be getting onto this board. They're obviously in a disadvantageous position right now. They have to win this game to keep themselves from going down into that loser's bracket. If they do, they're going to have to beat their way through 2 more sets to be able to come out of this. It's going to be a very difficult position for Kaolin Wardens to be in. The Eldritch Hounds, however, got a little bit more time to play with, and they're not really behind at this point. I would say this is basically a net average game.
Yeah, given the fact that they found 3 kills, you would definitely expect them to be up, but if you're looking at the farm game thus far, Relentless One is going to be having a fair bit of time in that lane, whereas Remakami can't clear the waves effectively. A level lead at the moment, just because Bastet clears a little bit faster, is able to rotate more safely with the pounce and things of that nature, so just being able to get that kill as well, probably going to go a long way. Relentless One is going Soul Eater into the Brawler's Beat Stick. I'm not even going to talk about the ult that just went down. Relentless One now has to deal with Quig wrapping around.
Yeah, look at this. 3 people coming around, but a beautiful usage of Hunter of Bast to so far clean it out, but it's not going to matter the amount of CC on this Eldritch Hounds team. But on the meantime, the left-hand side, Gold Fury falls down, and Dude Man Bro could be in some trouble. Blinking forward is Gino. Up into the sky goes the ADC, looking to rain down some arrows. Crimson can't help him, and nothing can save Dude Man Bro from the devastation that awaits him on the ground.
Yeah, he unfortunately dashed into the wall and then was like, oh god, I got ult. So he went up, and then he's like, all right, my dash is back up. No one's here to save you, man. Also, great patience by Oath because, okay, first of all, you see that there's a gank happening in right, and not only is it a gank, your support has joined as well. So great vision by the Kaolin Wardens saying, hey, we're not going to worry about Relentless One falling down. We're just going to get the Gold Fury. They get the Gold Fury, but on the other side, Oath, if I'm Oath there, I'm probably crushing wave right into the tower. He
For sure.
had the patience to walk around and then ult out because, again, these towers are chunking. So great patience there to confirm that kill and not forfeit his life. Unfortunate for them, though, you do lose the Gold Fury and Dude Man Bro, who I don't think meant to dash into that pillar there.
No, absolutely not. But that's really good shot calling here from the Kaolin Wardens, right? They recognize 3 of Eldritch Hounds players are over towards that right-hand side. They go, okay, what can we do? Relentless One might be fine, he might die, but let's capitalize off of this. They send the rest of their team to that Gold Fury, and they pick up a kill for it. That's a huge advantage in a game that Kaolin Wardens have already shown that they are more than a part of right now.
Yeah, the objective play has definitely been better by them, and the farm game itself, they've been better. It's just been a little bit more of the fighting that the Eldritch Hounds have found their success on. And I think it's more so the draft, right? Bastet is going to get to farm a lot more effectively than a Baron Samedi, and Nemesis is going to be a little bit faster, a little bit more mobile than a Hebo is, at least right now. And Oath is going for the Warlock Sash. They're definitely building a little bit more towards that later game stage. We usually see like a Spear of Desolation or some form of lifesteal in that slot in the old Hebo jungle days, but this is a new meta where you want HP and you want to be able to brawl.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost surprising to see it second, but I definitely understand the need for that Doom Orb in the jungle. It's going to help Oath rotate a lot faster. He doesn't have a traditional movement ability like a jump or a dash.
Oh, he's
to
got
get him
the
around
zoom
map.
carpet.
But he does have the wet paper, sorry, the wet tissue paper.
The Atlas of the Yellow River. is
Yeah,
what he
well,
has.
the scroll, the paper, the
It's an Atlas.
Sure, it's whatever you want it to be.
No, that's
Trelly.
exactly what it is.
That's fine, Charlie. Don't worry about it. Oath is very concerned with having that extra movement speed to augment the Atlas.
I just want you to know I didn't just name that ability. It was already named.
No, for sure. I understand that. And just like Remakami understands that he is in some danger, the heal from him, though, can keep him alive for now. Quig able to root out Relentless One, but there's no one really here to help follow up on that damage. Remakami gonna back off, and I think Quig should be able to clear out this wave alongside his solo.
Yeah, Quig is here to help, and Oath is not. Oath was in the mid lane at the time, so a little bit more presence. Moswell was also just sitting around the corner waiting to see if he could get a Charon's coin stack as well in that lane. So just spreading the Eldritch Hounds thin at the moment, trying to see where they can find a little bit of answer back into this game. I say back, but again, they still have that goal lead. It's 4-2, but the Kaolin Wardens are ahead at the moment. 800 XP, I mean 1,000
Well,
XP now in the gold. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're not ahead. They are ahead.
For
It's
sure.
just not by a massive margin. Once you're seeing all of these enemies take over to level 12, it doesn't really matter, right? You're looking at these second relics. That's where you want to push your advantage. Moswell has not yet went for a relic. Last game we saw the sprint on the Hell. This game, I imagine with a Hebo, you probably want Aegis.
Relentless One takes so much damage. There's a crushing wave. Just one more hit will do it. The Goomba Stomp from Erupt Crimson going to pick up that kill. And now potentially a Pyro opened up for the Eldritch Hounds, but deciding not to go for it just yet. Instead, the Scorpion will be the POI here. And Trelly, you know, we were talking about Wardens being ahead, but let's look at this level spread. We've got a level ahead in the jungle, or about half a level ahead in the jungle. Same with the mid lane. They have evened up a little bit now. But Griff, on the other hand, is carrying a large majority of Kaolin Warden's XP lead right now. 2 levels above Dude Man Bro. But does it really matter at this stage of the game when he's not getting involved in these fights?
Yeah, I would say the majority of actually 100% of the fact that the Wardens have a gold lead right now is because of Griff, right? He's at the top of the net worth chart, so only 500 gold above Uller. That's going to be a good portion of the gold that your whole team is ahead. So net even besides that duo lane, and Doomembro is sitting at quite the deficit. 2 levels. That's going to start to add up as this game goes on, but the Eldritch Hounds, they're going to help out Doomembro by saying we're going to go for this Pyromancer, and Moswell is too far away to go for an Earthshaker, so this will go down pretty free.
There's still 20 seconds left on the Gold Fury this time around, so the Kaolin Wardens shouldn't be able to find that easy advantage over to the left-hand objective this time around. Doomembro is watching 2 people walk at him over here on his purple buff. Finally decides enough is enough. Scratch that, decides to throw in 1 more auto just in case, but here come the rest of the Hounds.
It looks like Gino could be in some trouble here, but Quig doesn't have any more CC. Gino just doing some juke shoes here. Did not take too much damage from the bladed arrow, and probably more so just wants that position on this Oni Fury now that it is here, and there's no sort of vision just yet. Need to get some sentry wards down if any of one of these teams want to pull. Right now, a max range Earthquake, a max range Earth Shaker is definitely out confirming a Crushing Wave, but it takes so much time. Crushing Wave is instant, and that damage is going to be so fast. So I think you got to be CCing Oath or know where he is if you're trying to pull this, and here we go. Sino starts it off.
You know, if you're shaking the Earth, that's probably about the same quality as an Earthquake, and Moswell looking to secure up that Oni Fury with just that down. It falls. Be a nice little boon for the Kaolin Wardens, picking up the second Gold Fury of the match. Relentless one over here with next to no mana. Remakami dealing some damage, looking forward from Oath. The Jet Hands is going to secure the kill.
Jet Hands, but now Quig dashes in and gets Moswell's beats pretty much for free, but it looks like Gino's wrapping around here.
Quig's taking a lot of damage, but the tower does fall down. There's the Shadow Ball off the mark onto Gino, but luckily for Quig, the disengage is the decision from the Warden, so nothing really lost by missing out on that ultimate.
Oath is deep in the jungle, though, and has Crushing Wave available. Sino is walking up as well, but with Gino here, there's going to be a lot of CC, and they're going to sleep.
2 people mesmerized out, both of them forced to use their beads when they see Sino walking around that corner, which is such a shame, because that mesmerize was just about to run out.
Yeah, Gino just walks up, Mez, and then just stares at you. And it's like,
literally.
Obviously, the Epic Uppercut was down. He used it to CC Quig, so there was no steal attempt onto that Gold Fury, but both of them panicked and just dropped the beats. That's what you want to do as Kuma sometimes. You just like blink in, Mez, and just stare and go, are you going to beats?
It's menacing.
Yeah, and then people go, am I going to beats? Doomembro, he's in some trouble. Oh, and the knockup.
No,
He's
that
dead.
is there's no way he lands from this and doesn't immediately die. The turret, if anything, is going to finish him off, but Sino with the slice and dice.
Yeah, I was thinking about like ways he could get out there, and I was like, okay.
The turret.
Yeah, maybe if, you know, like Sino's mom came in, unplugged the computer, and then Moswell, you know, just DC'd from the game. But if all of that happened, the turret still would have finished the job. So there was no way.
Like maybe he like snipes the turret from
Wait,
up above.
that actually would have been big brain.
Yeah, kills Jimothy and then rolls away, somehow avoiding the slice and dice.
Yeah, but Griff right now is getting all sorts of farm. Gets that tier 1 on the left, and it looks like Oath is about to walk into a slice and... No, he knows. He knows he's there.
Totally
I was going to
knows.
say, walk into the slice and dice, and then they just like stood there staring at each other. And Oath takes the long way around. Tier 2 tower is going to take a little bit of damage, but I can't imagine there's going to be any towers falling just yet.
Look at those Jet Hands from Oath, but he's going to ult Sino while he's got the shield available to him. That's going to heal Sino for half of his HP, and now Crimson finally able to make it over, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, Quig has the wraparound here, but a shield will make sure he survives that Shadow Ball, and it looks like he's gone.
Starting to fall apart a little bit here for the Eldritch Hounds. Remakami falls down, Oath falls down. I mean...
Doomembro started off by falling down as well.
That's very true. Yeah, that's 3 kills across the board in 3 different locations. The Kaolin Wardens looking to reestablish themselves here.
And it looks like, so there's no Fury available, and since there's no Fire Giant that they really want to hold that, it looks like Griff is definitely going to the right side of the map. Of course, Pyromancer is spawning soon here, and Griff has the crit online. They do have some solid confirm, and Oath's dead for 8. They're not. This isn't a Pyromancer call. It's not spawning for a bit. They're going right over a ward to Fire Giant.
But there's so much vision around here, Trellian, and these players aren't super high level. This Fire Giant's going to take a lot to burn. They needed no one to be able to see it. But Quig, once again, off the mark with the Shadow Ball, gets hit by that Divine Retribution. No protections on the board for Quig right now, and he is so far in without a paddle, unable to get out. Griff also commits his ultimate to it. Crimson is able to get out. Sorry, scratch that. The blink forward from Gino into the Mesmerize. Crimson could be and is dead.
Yeah, but now Oath is back up. The Hebo is here. Snipes are coming down as well, trying to run away. More on the menu than a Fire Giant, but it looks like Ramakami gets a lot of damage and Oath finishes it off.
Water Spout to find that one, and now Griff, the next target, but is able to find himself through that Bifrost. Gino's going to pay for the sins of his ADC. Luckily, Griff is able to limp his way out. Eldritch Hounds, let's look at the positives, Trelly. They are able to stop the Wardens from taking that Fire Giant. There are no other objectives on the map, really, that are able to be looked at. Nothing's really going to be lost from them losing that fight.
No, absolutely not. They're not going to lose too much, but I'm sure they would have rather gotten that Fire Giant. At least the Pyromancer could be a decent consolation prize. I think if Quig hit that Shadow Lock, I definitely said Sino was dead. He had the beats, but
sure.
Quig also just missed. So if he hit that, you can't shield, and then that Fire Giant damage would have reigned true, or at least gotten the beats down from Sino. So still 3-0, holds on to that bounty. No one's going to be claiming that one just yet. And now we're just looking at where will they go next. Primal Fury is up shortly, about 25 seconds on that. It's at the point where either one of these teams have the burst, has the burn, and the confirm to try and go for a Fire Giant if there's too much extended onto. But I imagine it's going to be a 5v5 headed towards that Primal Fury. Still 2 Trebuchets. Only one has been sent. One is going down mid as we speak, and it looks like lining up the Pyromancer is the Hounds.
And this is what I was about to touch on. These Trebuchets are available for the Eldritch Hounds to put some pressure on mid and left. Only choosing, as you mentioned, to push one down mid lane for now. So no extended pressure looking to come out towards that left-hand side, which means the Eldritch Hounds probably aren't looking for that Fire Giant just yet. Instead, maybe triggering this middle Trebuchet shows us that they're looking potentially more so for this Primal Fury first.
Looking at Relentless One's build, you know, sometimes the builds, they have nice color palettes and they all look good. Seeing Brawlers into Spirit Rope, into Pestilence, just ugly color palettes, you know? I'm not a big fan of the red, blue, green, orange, you know? More so just sticking to one. Given the Soul Eater and the Brawler start, I really thought Relentless One was going to be going like full damage, but pivoted pretty hard into, I don't like the Crushing Wave and the Baron Zomany damage, so I'm going to need CC and Pestilence. This is what I was talking about, though. If you put too much stock in Primal Fury, the Eldritch Hounds are just going to go for Pyromancer, but you could be looking at the Fire Giant as well.
Relentless One, the only one really here in contestable position, is going to send out the Cat, but the Hounds are going to be successful this time around. Cats v Dogs. The Dogs walk away so far. Successful in this engagement, but Quig, once again, potentially isolated hit, does use the Shadow Ball for the CCI. And that's a big commitment there from the support. Yeah,
losing Night Terror is going to be a great tool to slow the DPS of the Wardens, and that's what you want to do when they're on Fire Giant and you're backing up. It looks like Dude Man Bro is not going to be into this fight for a little bit, so the snipes are here, but it looks like all of the gamers are arrived.
Some disruption is all they really need to stop this from happening. There's the Earthshaker looking to confirm the Fire Giant, and it's going to be successful. Wardens are able to walk away, but the whole question, Trelly, is can they make it out without losing many members? They are already under that tier 2 tower, except Gino. I don't think Gino's going to be able to make it out of this one.
Yeah, the only one they will lose will be Gino. It'll take a bit, and Oath will get credit for that kill. So it looks like Sino stopped the Trebuchet in mid, and now they will answer back with a tier 2 tower of their own. It's a 5v4, and you get FG off of 1. Kaolin Wardens, though, they're going to chase this one down just a little bit. They don't want to lose a Phoenix, but it looks like Sino can probably solo out this tier 2 as well, but doesn't want to stay for too long.
Absolutely not. The Hounds now, they're in a bit of a weird position, right? Where they are still able to take these fights from they've been playing these fights generally better position, but should they, or should they just kind of recede, let the Wardens take the momentum for now until that Fire Giant buff goes down? That's the question for me.
Well, it looks like right now the Hounds should not be too afraid. Again, Gino is dead, so it's a 5v4. You don't have too much to worry about at the moment, and some massive power spikes have been hit. As far as I'm concerned, Baron solo doesn't become a real character until that Bumba's Hammer is finished, and now Ramakami has it, so we'll be able to get a lot more active. And the Hounds are going to pull this Primal Fury themselves. Despite the Wardens having FG, it took Gino too long to get here, and now they're able to get that one and get out.
Fire Giant on the team, and they don't even want to step up to that Primal Fury. Maybe a bit of a smart move. Maybe Wardens don't want to pick a fight around maybe the weakest Gold Fury of the game, especially now that Fire Giant has gone down. It's not going to be immediately valuable to them, so maybe just the smart play to be cautious and allow themselves to keep Fire Giant for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it could be the option there. And if you're looking at the ADCs, both mirrored builds, both were able to finish Ornate Arrow and Deathbringer. So both Dude Manbro and Griff should be swinging with these crits on any real target that they find. Gino and Moswell are sort of hiding here in the jungle, seeing if they can find any epic uppercut. If anyone gets sent into the air besides like Quig or Remakami, I think they get just one shot off the dismount. Moswell has a fair bit of damage built in. But it looks like, oh, hold this lot. Looks like Gino could find something here.
Potentially, he's looking for something, but while the Wardens are looking for this fight, Trelly, look at the left lane. This Trebuchet already pushes down the tier. Well, he's got one, but if no one from the Wardens backs off to deal with this, it will take the tier 2 tower.
And it already took one, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, the Trebuchet is a monster. He'll stop at nothing until he gets all the towers. It looks like tier 2 tower in mid, though, will be the target. Finally, the Wardens are trying to get active with this FG. A minute and 20 on it, so I really doubt, unless a massive blunder from the Eldritch Hounds, they won't be able to look at any Phoenixes here, but they won't be getting any towers if they don't do something quickly.
Yeah, by the looks of things, there's just no cohesive call from the Wardens. It seems like what they're waiting for is some form of opportunity, maybe a pick or a surprise kill, but at the moment they're just burning time as these minions roll up through the left lane, and if you keep an eye on this left tier 2, you're gonna see the health bar of that tower drop very quickly. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, finally, a little bit of damage getting dealt to this right tier 2.
They're not gonna get it.
But there's no way. There's 40 seconds left on this Fire Giant, and now it's the Hounds going aggressive.
Quigs goes really aggressive as well. Hunter Bass goes down and Oath gets pulled in.
And that's going to be up onto the coffins for Remakami. Relentless One able to limp his way out, but it could be Oath to be the first casualty of this engagement. Up into the sky he goes. Gino is going to be able to get the root off, and there's going to be Griff for the first kill of the engagement. Relentless One takes a lot of damage, but he's going to be fine for now. Up into the sky goes the Rama. One more shot, but the second pounce back from Relentless is going to keep him alive. Gino steps up a little bit too far. And finally, Trelly, with the last 20 seconds of the Fire Giant, they are able to do something, but I don't think they're going to be able to get any structures out of it. And look at the left tier 2.
It looks like just that pick. That was what Fire Giant netted them, essentially. Just one kill onto Oath, no real damage onto these towers. If anything, the Wardens got more damage because the Trebuchet, one more shot, would have actually taken that tier 2 tower. So the Wardens probably wanted to get a little bit more off of that. But at this point, you just got to take what you did, reset, spend a little bit of the gold, because right now, Moswell has a fair bit in hand. And then reset for this next Fire Giant. Should be up here shortly, about 30 seconds. No Primal Fury is going to be on the map, so they're not worried about that. It's going to be an all-out brawl, a 5v5. Everyone is level 20 besides the supports, who are both level 16. Quig does tick over to 17, so we may see an upgraded starter in his future. He has the gold for it, so either the Sentinel's Boon or the Embrace, wanting to give your team more protections or just a little bit of self-healing, depending on Quig, if he wants to be selfish or not.
It's going to be down to the wire here, Trelly. Fire Giant spawns up in 10 seconds, and this, while it's not going to be enhanced, I doubt that we'll see it taken in the 2 minutes in which it spawns. So very likely that the next Fire Giant we see will be that glowing shiny giant that we are so afraid of.
The shiny giant.
The shiny giant. It's all bubbly and shiny.
He's purple. Yeah. Well, he's not like purple himself. The buff is like purple. You know, when you like hover over the icon.
It's just a different name for the enhanced Fire Giant buff, my dude. He's all shiny. He's all exciting and brand new at that 30-minute mark. Pyromancer is going to fall down here for the Kaolin Wardens.
Nope.
Scratch that hail of arrows. Going to come through and make me eat my words. Thanks, Crimson.
Yeah, they just wanted to make sure that you were wrong about the confirmation.
Yeah.
That's all. At least it wasn't the enhanced Fire Giant. That's an objective you definitely don't want to be stolen away by a hail of arrows. Another thing you want to keep your eye on is the relic count. Right now, Sino has no beads to his name for 30 seconds. Moswell also no beads to his name for about 30 seconds. Everyone's relics, if you're looking, are going to be up at about the same time, and I think that's when these teams are going to feel confident pulling these objectives, because they all fought at about the same time. Though, Gino is going to pull this Fire Giant. Not enhanced yet. They're going to be trading it back and forth. The Griff almost got knocked up, had to use the horn to make sure. That would have been a lot of damage you don't want to take at the start of an FG pull.
Absolutely not. Relentless One already uses the jump here on the right-hand side. Damage is going to get traded back onto Quig. And there's the Hunter of Bass, going to be off the mark. Traded out with Quig's ultimate. That did hit Gino here. the support from the Kaolin Warriors, Wardens, already, all of the W names, already having to be in a position where he's thinking about backing.
Yeah, but there's no way you can pull an Enhanced Fire Giant
Whoa.
with Moswell anywhere near. Gino's going to take a little bit of damage, but now they're going in.
That's the blink forward from Gino, and he nearly pays for it with his life. The engagement, I'm super confused as to why Gino decided to try and engage there.
Yeah, well, they're backing off now, and again, there's no real reason to
Oath.
try and pull this. Oath is going in. Is he going to waste his ult to kill Akumba? No, he's not.
Very close to getting the pickup, though. Sino rooted in place by that Shadow Lock for truly an absurd amount of time. Had enough time to step away from his computer, make himself a cup of tea, and come back.
Yeah, I like the fact that Oath did not use the Crushing Wave there, because that's the only way you have a chance of out-confirming the Earthbreaker right now. So here comes, it looks like Relentless One blinks in.
Jumping in as well as Relentless One. Earthshaker already off the mark, unable to secure the Fire Giant. Already damaged. Relentless One hit by the Noxel, and there's the roll forward from Dude Man Bro to secure the first kill of the engagement. Sino, though, looking to chew his way through Oath, and that's going to be one kill already, but his ultimate was down, so already the full amount of utility that that character was going to pick up was going to be it, but Griff charging forward, still looking for more. Triple kill already on the board for the ADC. The Eldritch Hounds are on full retreat, and the Wardens are no longer interested in the Fire Giant. They want the base.
Yeah, Griff cannot find that pentakill. Too many retreating at the moment. Erupt Crimson and Dude Man Bro have their work cut out for them here. It's going to take a bit to burn through. Two tier 2 towers are still available, so I don't think Titan is on the menu. The health bars are just not high enough, but this Phoenix certainly is going to be going low.
Absolutely. Cracking the base is going to be a huge boon for this team. It's going to give the Hounds so much more to worry about in that wave of fire minions. Moswell sticks around for a little bit longer. I think if Dude Man Bro connects that cripple arrow, that could have been very dangerous for the mid laner here from the Kaolin Wardens. But Trelly, this game has been absolutely neck and neck the whole way through.
And it still is. If we're honest, they got
For sure.
They got not much off that. That Phoenix is going to be pretty easy to defend with Enhanced Fire Giant. Relics are down. I mean, that's pretty big, so they have a better chance at pulling here, but they did not get that Enhanced Fire Giant yet. So the Kaolin Wardens are still going to have to do the dance. That was a massive swing for them. And of course, they've got a little bit of a gold lead, but at this point, everyone's about full build except for tanks. The gold's not going to be that important. Now, though, the Kaolin Wardens get to try and pull once again. And Gino, he's just going to get silenced out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly valid trade. Still maintains the cooldown for his 2, if I'm not mistaken there. So Gino still has that Groggy Strike available to him. Meanwhile, the Eldritch Hounds have to wait for that Silence Field to come back off cooldown as we return to this tango of the Fire Giant.
You know what I just realized?
What did you just
It's
realize?
Groggy Strike because he's groggy, he's tired,
he's
he's
striking.
sleepy. I thought he was holding a Groggy. I didn't know what it was. Relentless One gets knocked up, though. Enhanced Fire Giant's about 50%.
Gino gets put straight to sleep, and he's going to take a healthy chunk of his HP there before he's really able to do anything back. Gets locked down here, but the follow-up a million miles away, blinking forward. Relentless One trying to find some damage. He's going to land the tick off, but here, sucking everyone back in is the solo laner. Ramakami not quite able to find the damage, but there's Gino falling down already, landing and knocking everybody up around him, but it's not going to matter. Sino nearly finds a kill
Snipes
here,
are coming
but not
out.
quite going to be enough. Just backing on the spot, Ramakami tries to get away from Relentless One, but he is going to fall down there. A 2-for-1 trade so far, but look at the backfire knock-up combination. Dude Man Bro takes so much, but Relentless One once again rooted, but nothing to follow up with.
It looks like they have to retreat. The Eldritch Hounds, they looked so good in that fight, losing Ramakami, and pretty lucky they didn't lose anyone else. We'll have to back off. Obviously, Sino and Gino are down, so a net wash, essentially. Sure, the 1-for-2 is going to be great, but you have to back to defend Fire Minions, and the Wardens, they don't have enough health bars to go for the Enhanced Fire Giant, so back to square one, I would say. They have some relics, you know. Once again, that's something you could focus on if you look. Griff has nothing to his name. The ultimate is available, and the Bifrost is there, but no relics. Now, though, the Eldritch Hounds are going to steamroll towards that Fire Giant. One thing they do have is Quig, a tanky target to tank for them.
Trelly, I gotta ask you, I didn't really have time to analyze what you said a moment ago because
I don't
of the
know what a
fight.
Groggy is.
What? Describe to me what you thought Groggy was.
I thought it was the thing he was holding.
The stick?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, okay, right.
That's
Well,
it. That's the end.
baffling Fire Giant here, half HP, so is Quig though, and there's the crushing wave coming through, hits so many people through the 9 realms, goes the jungler, and Oath is going to land back down to a world of hurt, sucking everyone back in now. Is Ramakami looking to find some CC? Relentless One Meanwhile, all the way up by himself at the top, Boswell finds one onto Remicani. Truly disastrous for the Eldritch Hounds as they're falling down one by one. Crimson and Dude Man Bro desperately trying to get out of this situation. Up into the sky goes one. Crimson falls down. Grip with a 7. The man is unstoppable. Double kill from Grip to close out game number 2. The Kaolin Wardens are going to pull it to 3.
Finally, no one needs this enhanced Fire Giant. They're just going to get the Deicide and run it down right lane. They already got that Phoenix before, and this Titan will finally be looked at. The Kaolin Wardens drag us to a gate.
But the damage is being done by the Titans, so Trelly, they could fall down to the Titan here. Oh my gosh, it was so close. The Wardens, of course, not even close to falling down to the Titan. What a well-played game from this roster. So often throughout this game, they were a little bit far, they were a little bit behind, a little bit ahead, and they were able to keep, once again, themselves in this mentally and pull themselves through.
I mean, I think the Fire Giant dance started at 28. I remember. We called that out, and then it was just, oh, a pick. Oh, they're too weak. Oh, a pick. Oh, it's too weak. They fumbled it back and forth for so long, but the Wardens, they played it well enough they were able to confirm that one.
And we're gonna have to see what they're gonna do to try and keep this one going and win themselves that second game. But for now, ladies and gents, we're gonna throw you over to a quick break, so stay right where you are, and we'll see you in a second.
Kaolin Wardens certainly keeping it interesting in our third set of the day as they take game number 2 to tie things up and now bring us in towards game number 3 up against the Eldritch Hounds. When it came down to the early game, something that we were talking a little bit about, Mifflin, was definitely the Eldritch Hounds have that early pressure, a lot of early CC and damage. But once those late game team fights came around, without that true lack of that Guardian frontline presence, the Eldritch Hounds fell apart and the Kaolin Wardens were able to capitalize.
Traditional Smite is traditional for just that reason, right? Like, you've got every piece that you need once you do get to that late game team fight phase, but maybe only one piece the most important for the Kaolin Wardens, because Griff just goes wild. I mean, it is so hard to break down a game if you want to talk about like the micro plays, the macro plays, these small integral moments that are able to set you up for the dub. And then Griff just says, like, what if I just do it all on my own? And, well, he does exactly that. Watch this clip. I mean, he's a chainsaw. He's doing everyone's health bar. I'm not certain that anyone else on his team is, like, legitimately even applying real damage. Like, he did it all. And this is essentially what sets up the Kaolin Wardens for a clean dub from this point, 30-some-odd minutes into the game. And that was the nature of the draft. That's what we had expected if the Eldritch Hounds had come into this portion of the match from around an even state. Well, the Kaolin Wardens draft should just outscale, and it does exactly that.
Just like we saw in the previous highlight, Griff does it again in this one, picking up, I think, a double kill by the end of this fight and essentially kind of killing 3 players, not entirely by himself, but seemingly by himself at that point. I mean, Griff was on a tear this entire game through with this Heimdall, picks up a double right there, one at the very beginning of the fight, so essentially 2 triples in this game. Yeah, Griff has got to be looked at when it comes to game number 3. He had a really tough time in game number 1, struggling to be a part of these team fights. In this time around, though, the Wardens created so much space for him. Gino, Relentless One, really able to allow Griff to get to this carrier role and be the top damage for his team, 25,500 to the Hunter player.
And he wasn't top damage the entire time. That was the last 2 team fights.
Those fights.
Until then, it was Moswal who was doing the most for his squad on this Vulcan pick, which is generally one that you wouldn't expect to be allowed to operate against a draft like the Hounds have got for themselves. Just an incredibly aggressive CC individual lockdown composition. Crimson with the axe toss, Shadow Lock from Quig, you'd think would be enough to shut down this Vulcan. And it wasn't for lack of trying. The Hounds put some pressure on Moswal. He was struggling to find his footing throughout the early portions, but in acting as a lightning rod of aggression, allows Griff to just free farm until he was at a point in his build where he could show up to the Fire Giant and just dominate. I'm not certain that I'm willing to leave this at draft diff. The Eldritch Hounds had a composition that could have executed had they been able to establish a little bit more so of a lead. I think it was play on field. The Hounds just allocate a little bit too many of their resources towards the center and right-hand side of the map when they should have been worried about the lurking issue that was Griff, who was just biding his time.
And it really does become a little bit of a problem in that sense where with so many Hunters being viable at this point, with the builds being largely the same, it's not like you can focus your bans towards Griff. You can maybe certainly take a couple hits at those top shots. Picks and Bans game number 3 right around the corner and ready to go. As we hop right in, Jingwei has been kind of the primary ban as far as the Hunters are concerned. These second pick slots are not allowing whoever's in first pick to be able to have that opportunity, but maybe look to try and put Griff on something a tad bit further down. I mean, this Heimdall, Rom has kind of been the second 2 to go when the Jingwei's taken out, though.
Yeah, Heimdall, Rom, Jingwei, the safe picks, Hachiman as well. I think maybe that's partially the reason that Griff was allowed to play just his own game for the first 20-some-odd minutes of the game, because who wants to gank Heimdall? He's going to teleport from one tower line to the other and then have a CC immune dash if he still needs it on the tail end. Just so hard to shut down that pick early on, but maybe something that could be addressed if the Hounds so choose. If they want to put some pressure in the duo lane, you probably shouldn't allow Griff to play legitimately the safest god in the game.
And the Warden's very worried about that duo lane as they continue to ban out Quig here with the Yamoja and the Athena. One more ban available to the Wardens. As on the opposite side, it's a couple of shots at one shot at Relentless One, at least with that Amaterasu, and then back in towards the jungle with the Nemesis and Mercury.
Jing?
But it will be a cleanup ban, which leaves Jingwei open. The question is that the priority for the Hounds, or is it still going to be that Baron Somni that's been their top go-to?
I mean, Baron Somni's been consistent, but yeah, Jingwei is just so strong, just so safe. I think she probably, of all the Hunters in the game, utilizes this Devourer's Gauntlet Wind Demon build just better than anybody else. So no surprise to see the Hounds take that first overall, but that will allow the Wardens to put Griff back on the hot hand. Heimdall picked up. Not certain that it needed to be. You don't really need to go towards your Hunter in that first slot. Jingwei is going to the duo lane, and Heimdall is not exactly the strongest mid lane Hunter selection, so it's very unlikely that the Hounds would have taken that for themselves, but the Wardens don't want to leave it up to any form of risk, don't want to leave it up to any shenanigans, take their pick that works out so well for them, and lock it in immediately. Matched up with that Osiris, has some flex potential, can go into the soul lane, pick up the Death Toll, become that sustain in lane poke style of god, or can go into the jungle. We've been seeing a whole lot of Osiris jungle recently. Stone Cutting Sword plus Mannequin Scepter seems to be the choice for him. Don't really need to go towards the Golden Blade, just because he's got Cleave built into the kit already, which means that he should be able to establish pressure with relative ease. Establishing pressure, maybe not the name of the game, though, when you're jungling against the Bakasura, who is likely just going to outfarm you.
And this is what brought success for the Hounds in game number 1. Get this Bakasura off early, get the ball rolling as quickly as possible, so that way you don't have to worry about maybe squaring up once these late game team fights do start brewing through. Baron Samedi to pair up alongside the Bakasura.
Brewing, I like that.
Clever with it. Bastet on the opposite side, though, for the Wardens. That one for Relentless One. Most likely, as he's been taking a lot more of these higher damage dealers over towards that solo lane, been maybe a little bit less. Obviously, with the Amaterasu, you know, that's just been a staple. But outside of that Ama, it has been more these traditional assassins in the solo.
Yeah, going to be able to pick up Transcendence, get some early scaling, potentially could start to rotate out of that lane a little bit earlier on as well. It's just very difficult to lane against Bastet because of how strong the Hunter of Bast really is. Just ranged Ragnarok ultimate, essentially, where you're not really having to put yourself in any form of risk. If it is Baron Samedi over in the soul lane, he will have some answers to that. You can just use your life of the party to CC immune the ultimate, and then try and resustain in the lane. But the sustain being conditional, meaning that you have to land that second ability onto an enemy god, is going to be difficult against Bastet. Has Pounce to evade it, can constantly apply that poke to you. I think Baron Samedi will likely hit a point in the game where he's feeling a lot safer, and it's likely going to be around first item if he decides to go towards Breastplate first, or second item if he elects to go for the Warlock Staff. But until that physical defense is online, this Baron Samedi is going to have a massive target on his back.
But now we see we're going to have to be forced into a different look for Erupt Crimson, as both the Uller and the Thoth have been banned away from the Eldritch Hounds. So we're going to have to see something else, especially now with that Baba Yaga paired along those two bans. So 3 of the kind of top mids that we've been seeing out of this team, maybe 3 of some of the top mids that we've been seeing so far this week, have to be something new. Along Kumbha Karn, taken away from the Wardens, not going to allow that one to go through. But Fafnir picked up. Couple that with the Osiris and the Heimdall from earlier. This is something that El Leon did with the Yomi Tanuki. They find these double hunter or triple auto attack style comps, slap a Fafnir, and their objectives just melt.
Yeah, Fafnir is also just a great initiator against some of these gods. Bakasura in particular going to struggle against Fafnir with that disarm. You drop Regurgitate, you want to utilize those AoE auto attacks, all of a sudden you can't unless you're willing to use some form of CC immunity. And I think I speak for literally anyone who has ever downloaded Smite and played a match. Having to use beads for a disarm is one of the worst feelings in the game. Would much rather use it for a stun or something like that, some hard CC. But Fafnir is very good at limiting the efficacy of Bakasura. Could put some pressure onto that CC immunity. Looking at the Hounds draft and how many mid lane mages have been banned out in this second phase, I know Baron Samedi has found his home in the solo, but could flex mid if the Hounds so choose. Keep them guessing and force the Wardens into wasting some bans, essentially.
Geb selected here. Now, we've seen a couple of Geb's solo games this week so far. Could still see him over there. Could see him over in the duo lane. But with a Neath locked in alongside this Jing Wei, does tell to me that Neath is going to be going mid, and Moswell is going to be going back with a signature pick with Apwash to square up against it.
Multiple healers now locked in for the Hounds. Bakasura, Baron Samedi, and Neath all have ways to proc the stun from the Fleeting Breath from Apwash. So Moswell going to have some micro interactions there. Baron Samedi legitimately can't choose who he heals in these team fights. So as long as Apwash is hitting somebody, they're probably going to get stunned in a late game engagement. But the Hounds, yet again, have got a composition that is not slated for the late game. It's all about establishing that early game pressure. Jingwei and Geb in lane are going to be very safe during the initial laning phase. Once Geb decides to rotate out, then he can start to help out Neath in mid, make it a little bit more difficult for this Apwash to survive. Blink Cataclysm, generally, blanket statement, strong initiation, even stronger if there isn't any form of traditional mobility, and Apwash is lacking in that regard. So we'll have a massive target on his back throughout the early portions. And just looking at the early gank potential, Bakasura has no CC. That's the issue with Bakasura. That's the issue with him establishing pressure. Doesn't need it if you've got a global stun, single target from Neath, but still a stun nonetheless that does massive amounts of damage. I really like the Hounds' composition for just raw capacity to pull a lead early. but the onus is on them. With this draft, you have to be the initiators, you have to be the aggressors, because yet again, if they go to the 30-some-odd minute mark up against the Wardens, I think the Wardens are just going to outscale.
So in that same vein, we were talking a little bit about Jingwei and Geb as a lane, but is there some merit to maybe having it as a Jingwei Baron lane, that duo, putting the Geb towards it, or would you rather have that Geb be able to get a little bit more active and involved at the earlier stages with that Cataclysm?
Man, that's actually a really good question, because I think Baron plus Jingwei have got really, really high kill pressure in the lane. You've got the root from Baron, apply all that damage, undr'able CC with the updraft knockup, so that would be the stronger kill lane, and then you could start applying that heal early on. But because it's Opwash in mid, having the Baron heal get involved earlier just means that Opwash is going to find value earlier. So I think I might be leaning towards the Geb support.
So it does leave a few questions up in the air, not just for us, but even potentially for the players on field as to where those two gods are going to be going. So as we start slanting towards the latter half of the game, that's where it seems that the Hounds, or the Wardens, I'm sorry, are definitely going to be getting a little bit better of that scaling. If you are the Eldritch Hounds, where do you put that early pressure first, Mifflin?
Oh, man. If I'm on the Hounds, I suppose you want to just look at wherever Oath is looking, right? Like, if he's ganking the soul lane, put your pressure there. The only place you don't want to fight is around mid lane, because you want to be able to utilize that global presence anywhere else.
Well, who is going to be the first team to move on to day number 4? Will it be the Hounds? Will it be the Wardens? Let's find out in Game 3.
And that is the question. We've got, once again, some signature pickups already here, Trelly. I'm looking specifically at this Opwash once again for Moswell. Didn't quite work out for him in game number 1. Will it be the difference maker here?
Yeah, as Mifflin touched on, there are a few different ways to proc the Fleeting Breath, and that's what I'm always looking at when I see an Outwash. Are you going to be up against like a Sylvanas or a Chiron, these people that can't really control after the heal goes down who they're stunning? And Baron is going to be one of those picks. It's one of those things that you can't really control where the heal goes to. As long as your teammates are around you, you will be stunning them, so you have to watch out for that. But you're also up against the Bakasura, and Outwash doesn't have too many ways to outrun a Bakasura. Oath, I imagine, will be looking at the mid lane more often than not so much in the early, but about level 5, that's when the ganks are going to start coming.
For sure, and we've already seen the kind of things that Oath can do on this pick. This is a dangerous potential jungle pickup here if he can make it work. We're looking for something early here for Oath to really get his momentum started. And I think with an early game mid lane ADC like the Neath, there's a very high potential that could happen.
Yes, certainly so. And if you're looking at Geno's relic, has the horrific emblem, so that's going to be super annoying after the Fafnir hammer. Double slow on top of each other. If you don't have your escape, you're pretty much wasting beads, and or if you're Geb, you're going to have to roll out. Anything besides that, you might just die. So Geno trying to get maybe just a little bit aggressive in that lane. Late game, obviously Horrific Emblem is going to be a great pickup. Usually people see it at level 12 if they're going for that late game, though. If you see it this early, they're trying to get aggressive.
Already hitting level 2 is Moswell, and some damage onto Crimson already. A minute into the game, half HP on the mid laner. Not going to be too comfortable there for now, but has that heal available to him as long as he's not afflicted by that ability there from the Opwash. He is getting slightly aggressed onto, but there's not really much you can do when there's an Osiris overbearing.
Yeah, Sino has a lot of pressure right now in the mid lane and pretty much anywhere he wants to go. Osiris just has too many slows and too many poke abilities that you don't want to try and out-damage, especially when Bakasura is just a jump and an auto attack at the moment, so not too much damage to answer back. But of course, Up Crimson can do a fair bit with the Spirit Arrows, but you're going to see Butcher Blades popped and then Oath jump out more often than not like we just did, because you don't want to sit there boxing Sino, and Moswell just has a fair bit of mana still to his name, so he can spam his abilities pretty effectively right now.
But this is basically what we saw in game number 1, right? A lot of fighting in the mid lane without really too much happening before Oath was able to really get away and farm up for himself. So I wouldn't be too worried about the jungler just yet. Hold that thought. Oath is forced to jump away there, but he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, but this is what we saw last time as well. When
Yeah,
you do get a little bit too
deja
aggressive,
vu.
when you can't fight the wave, your red buff is in danger. And I don't think Quig's going to make it here in time, and Sino will be able to pick up that one. But, you know, I think that it makes a lot of sense that Osiris is going to out-pressure right now. Oath probably not too upset about it as long as you rotate over, make sure that Remakami doesn't lose the blue buff. Honestly, you could even look at Relentless One's blue buff, but Sino probably going to head back to help out his soul laner as well, just in case. But Up Crimson, he's doing a fair bit of poke on the way over to Moswell. I touched on this last time. Every time Crim goes this Neath build, doesn't really go the usual, like the Mannequin Scepter, Transcendence, one-shot. more so just a regular ADC going for crit, the Gilded Arrow into Dev Gauntlett, just an auto attack Neath build in the mid lane.
Could this be, I mean, I know that you enjoy, or you have witnessed Crim doing this build before. Could this be a Soul Eater?
No.
No. Okay, well,
Yeah,
there we go. Straight up
Simply not. It would just be worse, I think. Obviously, in the solo lane, you're tankier, so you want to be spending those abilities more effectively. But you're up against an Outpost. Your healing already is going to be limited. And then you're just going to get more damage and lifesteal and power that you really want with the Dev Gauntlets. It could be a Bloodforge, I suppose, if Grem backs with a lot of gold in hand. But more often than not, we're just going to see the Dev Gauntlets stacked up.
Fair enough. I thought it was a long shot, but I figured I may as well ask anyway. As Moswell forced to use the beads, it was off the mark, in fact, with the weave arrow. So free beads?
Yeah, I mean, it was a free bead, but hey, you gotta, if you're rooted even for a second into those Butcher Blade autos, you could be falling there. So I think smart by Moswell just to be better safe than sorry beads anyways. Sino trying to get aggressive in that dual lane, but that's a Geb, a Jingwei that aren't even halfway up the lane, so there's no real kill potential ever in the duo lane, at least right now, as long as they're not, wasting their dashes or engages. So staying a little bit far back here, it looks like the duo will tick over to 5, so not wanting to step up too far, probably a smart bet. Oath gonna go for the Oracles, but Gino's rotating over to this.
So is Griff around the top side here. Oath could be flanked out, but I think he still has the jump available to him. So he's going to be just fine. Beautiful blink there from Oath, but Lord of the Afterlife comes through. World Weave as well stops out Sino. The turnaround could have honestly come through here, but seemingly a little bit of miscommunication between these players. More rotations coming through. Moswell has found his way over, and now with the Empty the Crypts, even with that beautiful Spirit Arrow from Erupt Crimson, that's going to be all she wrote.
That was well played by both teams. I mean, Oath drops the goo to save himself, eats a minion immediately for the movement speed, then Quig steps in and says, hey, don't worry, I'll go to Niflheim for you. You don't have to. He gets sent, doesn't have beads or anything, but by the time he lands, he's got a fair bit of HP, and that Stone Shield cooldown's coming back up again. Horrific Emblem gets dropped, but Gino didn't want to turn anything like that after the fight, so untransforms back into regular Fafnir. Get that Dragon on cooldown, going to be the smart bet, and no casualties, still 0-0 at the moment.
This is a far cry from what we saw in that last game, Trelly, with 2 kills at 3 minutes. Now we got 0 in the space of 5. So interesting to see how these two teams are going to adapt from that. Both of these junglers, I would go as far as to say are pretty heavily inclined towards that mid to early late game phase of
mid to early late game.
Yeah, I mean, me and Mifflin were breaking down the different phases of the game.
I thought you were literally saying mid to early late game. Yeah, and I was like,
going back in time.
I was like, how are you just covering all your bases just in case?
Well, I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
No. That kind of middle to the early part of the late game, these two junglers are really going to start driving the conversation.
Yeah, I would say so. Oath, not so much damage just yet, just with the Golden Blade. Sino always loves to just go against the meta. Builds the tier 1 katana, baiting into, I'm going to go Golden Blade, I swear. Then just gets the stone cutting, and now could have a nice time boxing Oath if that's going to be the case, but you really don't want to box into Butcher Blades ever, and with the minions there, it's going to add another interesting turn. Just going back to the farm game as Gino joins the fight in mid as well. Doesn't really have the Dev Gauntlets online just yet, so Erupt Crimson is not going to start sacking, whereas Moswell has the Warlock Sash already finished and can start sacking, as we saw. Remember last game, Dude Man Bro was having a little bit of a rough time in lane. Griff got off to about a 2-level lead and then essentially hard carried the late game on that Heimdall. They let him get back on it again, but this time Dude Man Bro's on Jingwei, one of the highest contested ADCs in the game, and is a little bit more confident in lane right now, stepping up past that halfway point.
I like that from Eldritch Hounds as well. I'm not sure that Griff alone was the issue for them, so I don't know that they needed to ban away the Heimdall for sure, right? I like this idea of, okay, we've already seen what Griff likes to do on the Heimdall. We've got a feel for how it's going to play and how we're going to play against it. Let's just get Dude Man Bro and Sankey's a little bit more comfortable on, and then we can go from there.
I would say that Griff was definitely one of the bigger problems, but why could he not just do what he did on a different hunter, right? It wasn't like the ult was the problem or the Bifrost was the problem. Anyone that can build the items he built are going to be, critting just the same way, give or take, unless you have a different kind of stem. So I think they're just saying no reason in banning out this Heimdall, as long as we can get Dude Man Bro on something that can brawl, and Jingwei, she can swing.
Blinking forward is Quig. There's going to come the Cataclysm. Gino, CC chain for a long time, but no one has reserved anything for the Draconic form. Scratch that Oath definitely did, saving that puddle of disgustingness to root him down.
That's the throw up.
The puddle of disgustingness.
Nope, it was throw up. He regurgitates.
Would you not call a puddle of throw up a puddle of disgustingness?
I'm going to call it what it is.
Oh, all right. Well, Griff is going to walk over to his purple buff in abject horror as he sees it be cleared by Dude Man Bro. He's going to walk straight back into the jungle while Quig goes and sets himself up for another trebuchet.
I love seeing these Obelisk invades because when it was the Interceptor, the Shocky Boy, so to speak, the supports loved stealing it away because they got themselves this massive buff. With the Trebuchet, it's hard to see the value of right away until you see it start pushing down and soloing towers and such. So Quig is going to put a little bit of stock in it and make sure to get that one. It will be on the left side. So now, if Dude Man Bro wants a little bit of health in lane, could send it. Or we've already seen how the Hounds like to play this. They're going to leave it there until about Fire Giant time and then send them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, as you said, it's not something that you can understand until you see. For example, what we saw last game with the Eldritch Hounds sending down the left-hand lane, getting essentially both towers for
soloed
free.
left tower and then got tier
like
2
one
tower
shot
to
left.
one shot because if you're the Wardens, you get, like, what? You're going to say, hey, someone back for the Trebuchet, but Enhanced Fire Giant is here. We can't do that. So you essentially have to give it up. It's a fair bit of gold at that point in the game, and it just opens up your map, especially if you're trying to just run it down and end after a fight. Having those towers down is going to help the Titan be weaker. It's going to just slow down your push, and the extra gold, never going to be a problem here.
And unlike things like Oni waves or even fire waves, the Trebuchet doesn't go underneath the tower, meaning that it's only really taking damage from the minion waves, which is going to clear out super quickly anyway. So you're getting a lot of free damage over a thing that really isn't going to be stopped unless somebody rotates. It's a huge valuable thing, and the Eldritch Hounds got it on the left-hand side first.
Yeah, the first of a few, because usually the Eldritch Hounds are the ones stacking this Obelisk up more often than not. Quig puts some respect and even took the HP to steal that away. Ramakami, looking over in this lane, is actually getting a little bit of pressure here, making Relentless one back. Remember we saw last game, Ramakami did not get off to the same start on the Baron v Bastab matchup and essentially had to sit under tower and was very far behind. Not going to be the same start at the very least as Pyromancer spawns in here, and Quig is sort of sitting around, not really looking at Pyro, more so looking at Sino. And there it
He
is.
is going to be the absolute hot topic here. Sino just wiped off the face of the planet. And that's going to be the full disengage from Eldritch Hounds. They have no need or no interest to continue this. Instead, straight back to the Pyromancer.
Lore of the Afterlife was available. The CC chain was just a little bit too much, and now Moswell is stepping a little bit too far up. That beat is not going to get you out of trouble.
So much damage already, but Relentless One is here trying to find a little bit of heal for his mid laner. Is going to find the return kill onto Oath, so that is at least something. And health bars are starting to fall a little bit low. Crimson has to dodge away from that hammer, but the take damage from Bastet is so much. Relentless One jumps back into the Unravel, though. It's going to give Crimson just enough HP to run away.
I was really worried that Grim was 1 HP and had the Juke Shoes, and Relentless One has a fair bit of damage. Again, going for this Soul Eater and Brawler's Beat Stick, so one more ability probably would have been enough to finish it. I think a Fafnir auto could have been able to finish that one off at one point, so that's an 88 gold. That's a 2 gold lead.
Have we ever seen a 2 gold lead?
JMac has been keeping track, and I think he's seen everything, every single digit number except for 1.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure he's seen 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, except for 1.
Could you even get a 1 gold lead? Can
If you could get a 2, why couldn't you get a 1? Because you can
like,
get. I mean, if you could get a 3, why couldn't you get a 1? I should say.
Oh, okay, that's perfectly fair. My brain couldn't remember if you could get odd amounts of gold.
Well, you can.
Yeah, well, there you go. I've been reminded. Thank you.
Of course. Anything to educate, make your brain a little bit bigger. As we see, Oath has matched the stone-cutting sword that Sino has. And remember, that whole fight started from Sino just getting absolutely deleted with his ult available. Remember, the Cripple Goo does not stop CC immune ults. He could have ulted out. It was just a great CC chain from Quig.
The Cripple Goo.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't want me to call it throw-up.
Well, I don't mind you calling it throw-up. It just... Anyway, Relentless One in yet again some trouble. The Wild Reaver's going to hit him, and look at the damage from the coffin. That's going to be the dual lasers. And the 3, Ramakami picks up that one in combination with his mid laner and jungler. Oath makes the cheeky rotation over. Potentially looking for the last hit there, as Oath tends to do.
I'm interested in the relic we just saw be popped. Relentless One shelled at the last second there. I understand there's a lot of auto attackers, but no blink is going to be available. A lot of mobility already on Bastet, but that seemed a little bit wasted. I think he was just trying to stall out until Sino showed up, but even if Sino was there a little bit earlier, it seemed like Relentless One just was dead at that moment. But now we're going to see the upgrade of Shell eventually help out against these auto attackers, the Jingweis, the Neiths, and of course the Bakasura. So I think it will help out a bit in the late game. But now you're sacrificing a bit of movement on this Bass step. But with Pounce being so versatile, being able to choose when you want to jump back if you need to, shouldn't hurt on this one too much.
Look at the left-hand lane here, Trelly. Gino looking for potentially a gank, but Dude Man Bro on this Jingwei is super safe at the moment, so I'm not really sure he's in too much danger. Quig also showing some presence here on the left-hand side. This Gold Fury is the next giant POI on the map, so don't be surprised to see the next fight break out momentarily, trying to potentially get a pick onto someone to open up that gold.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a hot take here. I think the Eldritch Hounds have much better burst for this Gold Fury. If Erupt Crimson puts the backflip down on the Gold Fury and then hits a Spirit Arrow Weave Explosion, that's going to do way more than a Corpse Explosion from Alaposh as long as you're body blocking the first ability. Just Fleeting Breath and an explosion, that's just one corpse, that's not going to be that big of an explosion. If you put down 3, that's a different story, but you can body block that pretty easily. I think if the Eldritch Hounds get the pressure, they should be able to, quote, 50-50 that a little bit stronger. But given how these teams have been playing these objectives this whole set, no one's going to try and pull this unless they have massive vision and no one's around or the given lead.
Relentless One in some trouble already, forced to use that ultimate, and he's stuck in a corner. I think either gives up there or body blocked by the
that was
minions.
body blocked by a minion, getting pulled, and then also in the cripple goo. A lot of things went to why Relentless One was stuck there. And now, just as I said, they will have that pick. They have the numbers game, and they can go for this. Gino's around, but just like the Outwash Corpse, the hammer can be body blocked.
At 14 minutes, this might be one of the earliest Gold Furies we've seen so far in the SMITE Masters event, and Eldritch Hounds are going to pick it up. Ramakami, though, in a lot of trouble. Up down from Sino's going to find the first kill.
Now, it looks like Gino wanted to chase this, but Eldritch Hounds, smart players, they don't want to stick around too much. This is not a fire giant. You don't have to stick around. You got the gold. You can get out. There's nothing forcing you to stick around and fight, and it's a little bit too early for the Wardens to spread out and get anything off it. So they are just going to go and get the farm after the fact. Ramakami, honestly, was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. After the objective went down, all of the Wardens were there, and they're like, you know, we can't defend anymore. We're just going to take this. Baron with the beats, and the coffin was not enough to survive, and didn't even get the ult off because it was just burned through so quickly.
Gino in some trouble here, blinking forward. Quig finds the Cataclysm, forces the curse, but Erupt Crimson's around the other side. The root's going to come out. Shell trying to save his life. He's so wiggly right now, and there's going to be the flight strip finding some damage, but Gino is going to make his way out. Empty the crypt was expended there. Relentless One on his way through. Quig is going to find the kitty and push her away. And that should be just about it for that fight.
Yeah, I'm really surprised the Wardens were running away there. Obviously, we have the knowledge of where everyone's at. They definitely had the numbers for a bit longer, and it looked like they had the health bars. But the ultimates, they certainly did not have, and not wanting to give up any more. They already lost the Gold Fury. Don't want to lose any more after the fact. So I think smart just to say we're going to run away. It's not like the gold lead's too outrageous, but a solid 3K or so in favor of the Eldritch Hounds is definitely going to go a long way here. Pyromancer's about to be up, so expect to see Oath on this side of the map more often than not. Not really looking at ganks in left, not really looking at ganks in mid. Wanting to show face here as much as possible to scare away the members of the Warden so this next objective can go their way as well.
And the lead here from the Eldritch Hounds, Charlie, it may look like 4K, but the Kaolin Wardens are still finding small victories here. This isn't an unsurmountable lead for the team in red just yet. Only about 4,000 gold behind. 16 minutes in, that is, I think, still would qualify for a lead at this point, but it's not a giant lead.
Oath also has 90% of the kills once again. Remember when he had last game, or the last time he played Baka, I looked up and I was like, wait, Oath has 5?
Yeah,
they have 5 kills and Oath has all of them. This time, letting Ramakami get one. Going to be a kind jungler. Say, hey, you can have some of the gold too. Don't worry about it. I'm going to share. And if I'm going to do some quick maths here, it's actually 80%. I was trying to jump out like a blanket number, but now Relentless One this could be another kill.
Back in the coffin he goes, and before the Hunter of Bast even able to pick up Oath, she's going to fold down. No Bastet allowed on this map. 2 levels behind. Probably a little bit further than that as well. Ramakami sitting at level 17, and with that 1 kill down, is going to be a Fire Giant pull for the Eldritch Hounds.
This is a very quick Fire Giant pull. Ramakami's on zone duty, but this Fire Giant's not burning too quickly, and Sino blinks in.
There's the Cataclysm, and already look at Sino's health bar. Doomman Bro trying to go through that corpse, running, and Sino is going to be the first casualty. Gino has to jump away there, but Ramakami alongside the Neath is going to do a little bit of damage, but not quite enough to finish it off. But look at Doomman Bro's HP. He can't leave the Fire Giant pit, and he's not going to need to. Fire Giant falls down 17 minutes and 57 seconds with 7 kills to 2. Eldritch Hounds pull ahead with an FG.
Yeah, definitely clock that one for the numbers after the fact. A 57-minute fire. You know, that's a very early Fire Giant. That's the point, because of the games we've been seeing and the style they've been playing. But this is 2 NA teams that are used to playing much more aggressively early on. They use styles to wait a little bit longer, maybe the enhanced Fire Giant, that sort of thing. This is not the way that these teams like to play. And right now, piloted by Oath with a solid lead in the jungle. 3 levels. You've got this Bakasura that is just farming and running just from each side of the map, getting as much farm as possible. Now that you have Fire Giant, you have a few different options here. Oni Fury is about to spawn in. Pyromancer has spawned in. I imagine they're going to go Oni, get left towers, then maybe back up, get Pyro, get mid towers. They just have so much freedom. There is, of course, a Trebuchet in right lane that can help out the Wardens if they are trying to stall out this game just a bit. But at the moment, I don't think sending it while the Eldritch Hounds have Fire Giant and are trying to be at this portion of the map anyways is going to do much. Probably just save that in case you need it for Phoenix defense.
And let's highlight Erupt Crimson real quick. No kills on his slash line right now, but look at the 6 in that assist column, Trelly. 7 kills in the game.
Oh, please, that's just Neath ult.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Basically, all of these kills, all of these engagements have been started exactly this way with the Neath ult coming through. Doodman Bro could still be in some trouble, though. Griff dashes away, but the damage trade is definitely not in his favor.
Yeah, Doodman Bro missed a lot of auto attacks. They're saved by the squad, is what I would say. He's been having a great set, but that 1v1 was not his shining moment. I'm just saying, like, you wouldn't say, wow, Nua's got 12 assists. She must be really helping out the squad. She's just old.
Okay, I mean, that's maybe a little less fair, considering it's an auto hit ability, but
they're both auto hit abilities. You can't miss
They're
Neath-ult.
coordinating their attacks well, Trelly, with Erupt Crimson.
I've missed Nua ult before, fun fact. I used it to steal the last kill of a deicide, and they killed, so it hit no one. I missed a Nua ult.
I'm impressed. That's genuinely an impressive feat. The left-hand tower about to fall down here. Relentless One tries to pull in Ramakami, but no such luck. The beats are going to be available for the solo laner. This tier 2 tower doesn't have many more legs to stand on, but there's enough pressure. Actually scratch that up into the coffin. Goes Ramakami trying to do some damage up there on the top, but Sino getting chewed through here at the bottom by 2. Gino transforms up into the dragon. Meanwhile, back on the left-hand side, up into the sky goes Doodman Bro trying to run away from Griff. The Galahorn trying to catch up with the little birdie, but she's going to fly away.
And Oath is trying to go for this right Phoenix here. Really, it was just Moswell falling and the tier 2 and right. Don't get me wrong, the Oni Fury is going to help out a ton as well, but not really what the Eldritch Hounds were looking for. They were spread so thin there. They went for the kill on the Moswell, and they all sort of just spread out. Unfortunate that Sino makes it out as well. One of the most annoying interactions on Neath is when you throw out that second ability, trying to get the heal, and then it just gets stunned out. You get the cooldown back, but they're already out of range. You don't get to use that one again. Either way, I'm sure the Eldritch Hounds are happy with the almost 10k gold lead they have accrued over this Fire Giant, but still 2 tier 2 towers standing tall, and those Phoenixes are full HP, so probably looking for the next Fire Giant. 30 seconds, it's going to fall off their belts, and they'll have to set up and go for a team fight once again.
Just back to the neutral, as you mentioned. No objectives really on the board. 20 seconds left on this Fire Giant, so really not much that Eldritch Hounds can do with it. But they did get a fair amount of things off the board with that first Fire Giant, so the second Fire Giant should be a big game changer should the Eldritch Hounds be able to get it. But, Trelly, I've got a question for you. The Kaolin Wardens are currently in a very dire position. What do they need to be looking at to get back into this game? I
mean, you have to find a way to kill Oath, which if he's diving that deeply, hold that thought as Sino is diving very far as well. Oath finds a little bit of damage, and Quig is cutting off the escape.
There's going to be the puddle of vomit into the Lord of the Afterlife. Quig tries to find the Cataclysm to cut him off, but just barely out of range is Sino. That, I think, would have killed him if it had connected. He was low enough HP, but even without Fire Giant, this tier 2 tower in the mid lane is going to be short work, and Ramakami pulling some people in, or at least attempting to. Gonna hop off the coffin. He realizes no one's really in range. A beautiful shield from Quig to immune out those slows, and now the full retreat's coming from the Eldritch Hounds. Frenzy has been popped, but I don't think it's really going to come to much as it's already gone before Kaolin Wardens can even catch up.
Yeah, it looks like Remakami definitely baited the team here. They're going to be forced to fight. They have no say in the matter. But the Wardens aren't afraid of this. Sino's going to blink in, and Gino's turning into a dragon.
That's huge, but look at him. He instantly transforms, and he's nearly dead already. Flying through the corpses is Dudeman Bro, but he goes straight into the enemy team.
Each other.
Straight through into the 9 rounds. A little bit of an early jump, and now blinking forward is Oath, trying to find some kills up and down. He's able to find one, but why?
At this point, I gotta run us back. So the tier 2 tower get by
just
the Eldritch
happened?
Hounds was great. And of course the call was to back up, but Remakami, he was lagging. I don't know. He didn't, his brain was lagging is what I meant to say, because he just goes for the
Guys,
ult.
we can still do this.
The whole team was running. They were like, dude, we're not gonna fight this, right? And Remakami's like, I'm inviting them to a party. Like, I am literally pulling them into the coffin. So they say, all right, we're gonna get you out. We're gonna pop some relics, throw some CC your way. Remakami still gets caught out, so then Quig says, don't worry, I'll back up, I'll shockwave and shield you. Then Quig gets caught, so now the team says, guys, we gotta go. Look at this though, the Wardens, they're happy about this and they're gonna go for the pull.
There's just so much space that they have because of that play. Quig's coming up around the top, and the name of the game at the moment, Trelly, is Disruption. Dudeman Bro's got 5 seconds left on his timer. He's gonna be here in about 15 of those, able to fly back, and it looks like the Hounds are able to do enough to stop the Wardens from getting the Fire Giant with that power play.
All right, Remakami makes up for it because, again, I think the whole reason they were baited into this situation is because he tried to go for a little bit more after the fact, but also scares off the Wardens from the Fire Giant, so they won't be losing anything too massive. And now there's going to be a true 5v5 at this Fire Giant. Primal Fury not going to be up for a while, so nothing to get in the meantime. Should just be everyone from each of these teams setting up pretty much around this objective, getting vision down, and then looking for what they have. The relics aren't looking too bad if you are on the Wardens, but the Hounds have some key players missing beads, and that's going to be annoying. Oath has no relics for about 40 seconds on Blink and a little over a minute on the beads, and are up Crimson, also missing beads.
Yeah, and that's going to be put Eldritch Hounds in a really scary position here where they're not going to want to fight. Equally, though, Trelly, on the other side, there are a lot of defensive relics down. All 3 of these shells on 20 to 30 second cooldowns right now, so not as detrimental as the beads being down, which is obviously a lot scarier, but as even I've just finished that sentence, 20 seconds already down on those relic timers. So I think within the next 30 seconds, the Eldritch Hounds are going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think the Hounds are literally just waiting until Oath has Blink and beads. He's like, guys, I'm doing a lot, if you couldn't tell. I'm very scary. I'm a full build Baka. All of my items, except for my relics, are completed. So we're gonna wait for me, and they're gonna say, okay, sounds good. Looks like Quig is frontlining here, but not really looking for anything. More so just trying to get some sentry wards down. Still about 20 seconds on the beads, and then I imagine that's when we're gonna see Remakami start tanking up this Fire Giant or Quig, and the carries start damaging it down.
The Fire Giant Foxtrot, the name of the dance that we call when these two teams are just fighting around this objective here. Nice and slowly, just trying to figure out what they're going to try and do. Looking for a pick, looking for some form of poke opportunity. Gino thinks he might have spotted one out in the mid lane, but Oath has a jump still available to him.
Yeah, we'll jump away there. The hammer's down, but now Gino's rotating back in, and Quig and Remakami are both standing at the front of the fight here. Looking at Sino's build, missing a lot of key items, but does tick over to level 20. So the Osiris will do a fair bit of damage, I say, with a little bit of hesitance in my voice, because this is late game where you really want the items, because Osiris's kit is not going to back you up. But that Fire Giant is half health already. 2
auto-attack hunters trying to take this one down. Gino takes a lot of damage, but jumping in is Relentless One. Has to jump back out already. Transforming up into the Draconic form is Gino, looking for the stun onto Dudeman Bro. Stun and, Aegis and Beads already expended from the ADC, and it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade already. Oath for Relentless One. It's going to be a big detriment to the Eldritch Hounds not having their jungler, but the damage onto Wardens was still pretty substantial. These players not quite able to finish that one up.
I think Oath just committed one of the cardinal sins of being a Bakasura. You never want to be the first one in. Look at all the relics that just got popped. If you're the Wardens, they had those all up for this Baka. Oath goes in by himself. You want Quig to go in first, get these escapes down, get these beads down, maybe even a shell or something, so that you could go in after the fact. If you're the first one in, you're going to get them to drop relics, and then you're stuck. You're a Baka in the backline. That's why Oath falls there. At least Relentless One also goes down, so the Eldritch Hounds are not going to be missing too much. They're able to just sit back and wait for the respawns here, but I don't think that Oath ever wants to be the first one into the fight, and I think he learned his lesson after that.
Absolutely not. Backflipping away, Crimson was looking at the Fire Giant there for a moment, but he was all alone. Quig now, as well as the rest of his team, looking to come and join him up at that objective, while the Kaolin Wardens still a little bit split here. We've got one in the mid lane, one on the left-hand side. Quig is going to take some decent damage there from the Fire Giant. Puddle, once again, starting it up. These two ADCs are going to make short work of it. The Cataclysm isn't going to connect onto Gino because of the jump, but look at those auto attacks, Trelly. They're doing so much damage, and now Oath charging forward with the Puddle of Vomit is going to stop Gino from running away from Ramakami, who's now looking to pull in Griff. Jumping over the wall is Relentless One, trying to do some damage of his own. Pulls in Ramakami with the Hunter of Bass, but the beads are going to be expended from the solo laner to keep him nice and safe. And the look at the health bars from the Eldritch Hounds, Trelly. They're still more than healthy enough to go for this Fire Giant, and at 28 minutes, it's going to go their way.
Yeah, that time around, beautiful play by Oath, saving the goo just for essentially Gino. You can't turn into a dragon, you're already too close to death, and it doesn't get wasted that time around. They get the pick, and they get the objective. Remember last time they got Fire Giant, they were trying to get these Phoenixes and the tier 2 towers down. They didn't even. The tier 2 towers have since gone down since that FG, but they're still looking at these Phoenixes for the first time. Now they're full HP at the moment, and that's where they're really going to be focusing their attention. After that fight, it really did look like before Gino died, the Wardens were certainly holding their own, but Griff had to use everything not to get pulled in by Life of the Party from Ramakami there, so should be staying pretty far back as this Heimdall. You have the Bifrost to get away, but your beads are gone.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a really rough position now for the Kaolin Wardens to try and come back into this. Fire Giant is going to be super potent for this Eldritch Hounds roster. They've got no towers left stopping them from trying to go for these birds. And they've got plenty of time. And look at the items as well. I'm just looking at the full missing back row there of Kaolin Wardens. We've got one short sword and one completed spectral armor. But other than that, nothing on that back row. Meanwhile, on the Eldritch Hounds, Trelly, basically everyone but Quig has that last item completed.
Yeah, it's going to be a big damage differential, as well as we're seeing upgraded relics here. Obviously, if Oath can reset his cooldowns with beads, and his blink is going to be slowing the attack speed of everyone near him because of the upgrade on the relics. That's how far ahead the jungler of the Eldritch Hounds is. And he hasn't sold the Golden Blade just yet. Usually, you never really get to that point, but if you do, that could be another power spike you want to go for. Looks like the left lane will be looked at here. They haven't split up yet. I expected Oath to take the mid lane while the other team goes left because no one wants to take that 1v1, but right now, as 5 are walking up here, it looks like Sino defended the Trebuchet and is now going to join the fight.
Looking for the first sign of weakness. Eldritch Hounds are going to line up quick. Rolling forward, looking for some aggression. That's already going to be Hunters of Bass pulling Quig in and back, blinking forward. Oath finds a kill onto Moswell straight away, jumping straight back out, but there's the Cataclysm, finding 2, but the beads from Relentless One are going to be enough. Up, down from Sino, finds 2 on the stun, and it's going to be Dude Man Bro falling down here. Quig tries to pull that carpet to save some lives, but he's going to be sent through the 9 realms, and Oath taking a lot of damage. Jumping back in now is Relentless One. Quig might make his way out
There's
here.
no way.
How did they drop that kill?
They had no idea he was up. I guess they just never caught, hey, by the way, he's coming back down. He's not going to die in the realms. And now it looks like that one mistake might cost the Phoenix.
Absolutely free. They still got 2 ADCs here left on the map. I'm counting Oath as one of those because this dude is doing nothing but auto attacks.
Yeah, it looks like Relentless One is trying to find some chase here. Still some low health bars, and the members of the Wardens were able to go heal. You don't have Moswell, who just got absolutely deleted at the start of that fight. Still has the relics, but now Sino might get caught. The speed buff?
He doesn't have his ultimate available to him, and I'm not sure that he has his blink up either. Luckily, though, no major advantage being given. Scratch that! Where did Gino go?
He's absolutely deleted. Remember, the fire minions are going to start pouring in on the left so they can stall out here. Moswell has returned, and you still don't have Dude Man Bro back, so I imagine the Hounds are just going to back up here. They're not showing any sign of leaving, though. They're sort of just standing here menacingly.
You can see Crimson, you can actually see him there on the little player profile, pressing 4 and right-clicking repeatedly just to clutter those Kaolin Wardens comms. A little bit of an Emilito strategy from way back when, making them have to call it out. Blinking forward, Quig finds Moswell and Griff's beat. Sino already dead here. Up downs to try and find some return damage onto Oath, but it's not going to matter. Ramakami has to drop the heal on himself, and Griff is going to get stunned out there by the Neath ult. Forced to use that send through the 9 realms to get out of there. The second bird's going to fall, Trelly, And with only one set of hot wings between Eldritch Hounds and a spicy Fire Giant. Fire Giant? Titan. This is a very close game for them to win.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they ended up leaving, but Gino did have a pretty short respawn, so not wanting to risk the 5v3, and then, you know, obviously Fafnir spawning in during the siege, they just back up. They will get the Pyromancer. 40 seconds on now the enhanced Fire Giant. The Eldritch Hounds have one more chance to get this objective, and the Kaolin Wardens should have one more chance to defend. This time around, losing 2 Phoenixes is pretty bad, but you could have lost the game, and you could have been sent to the loser's bracket. So I'd say their defense was a little bit better than the worst case scenario.
Absolutely. They could have lost straight up, but now instead, the Kaolin Wardens still have an opportunity. It's a small opportunity, and it's going to be a very hard-fought one, but there's definitely a way back into this game for the red team. And Trelly, you're going to have to tell me exactly what that way is.
Well, it's going to be rough, because I think Sino is his usefulness is all but behind him. We saw what just happened when it was an attempted 1v1, and Oath just simply does more damage.
He just ate him.
He simply does more damage. It's just that. Osiris's usefulness is essentially just running at the mages.
Gino nearly... Actually, that's huge! Now, no ultimate available for Oath. Sino getting chomped on, nearly kills Crimson, but the damage is done already, and the ADC is very low. Does stand out Relentless One, who is going to try to hunt down potentially Crimson, but instead decides against it. Remakami is going to drop that too, looking for a little bit more damage, but Kaolin Wardens are on a full retreat, and Trelly...
Fire minions are on the Titan. They're going to try and stop backs here. No one is going to be able to get out in time. And look at the Trebuchet is also running down left lane. And it looks like Enhanced Fire Giant going to be the smarter call than to go for the end there.
I don't know that there's much the Wardens can do at this point. Enhanced Fire Giant with a full 5-man roster with already 2 Phoenixes down, Trelly. How do you even fight that?
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's an elixir of power that was just purchased there for Oath, so it's gonna be an even bigger power spike. They have they've got their work cut out for them, I should say. But there is still a way, and I'll tell you.
Tell me.
Crimson doesn't have beads right now. Crimson gets overconfident and backflips into the Titan room. Then, immediately after, Griff sends him into the realms, into the well. That's an insta-kill.
Right.
That scares off the Hounds, they leave. That's the only way I can see this happening.
So it's fear and intimidation.
Yeah.
Off the back of Crim backflipping into the fountain, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Or just getting close enough that he gets sent into the beads. Obviously, Dudeman Bro doesn't have beads either, but has a CC immune ult. I can't imagine he's getting sent through the realms. But the Wardens are trying to set up an ambush because they don't want the Hounds in the Titan room. They want to fight them right here outside.
That's basically going to be their only shot. Normally, that Phoenix is such a bastion of hope and support, but if the Eldritch Hounds make their way inside, that could be all she wrote for this set, and would send the Eldritch Hounds through to that first secured spot to the next round of SMITE Masters. It's all to play for, Trelly. All the muffins are on the line right now.
I love seeing what the Hounds are doing here. Not getting overconfident, not getting overzealous. They're waiting for these Oni minions. They recognize right Phoenix is spawning soon. Split up the Kaolin Wardens. Don't give them a 5v5 with the Phoenix helping a true 6-man. Spread them thin as you can. Oath go mid, Oath go right. Spread them out. That's going to be your best option. Baka can solo the Titan right now if left alone, so they're not going to start their siege just yet until these Oni waves start pushing in.
Just trying to find that little bit of space. The left Phoenix is going to go undefended. The Kaolin Wardens choosing instead to make their final stand here at this middle lane. Right Phoenix has just respawned, so that could get a little bit more health for the Titan. It could make the difference here, as already Crimson's beats have been executed, as has Relentless One's health bar lands into a Cataclysm that instantly demolishes his life bar. Sino is the next one to fall down. Gino could be the next one here as well. The Eldritch Hound still 5 men strong. Blinking forward is Quig to try and find the follow-up there from the World Weaver. Griff now super low HP, and Eldritch Hounds are playing for all the money, for all the biscuits. Unlimited rice pudding for the Eldritch Hounds.
Kaolin Wardens put up a good fight, but the Eldritch Hounds were simply too far. It was just sending your whole team into a blender, and the blender was the ADCs and Oath. It was essentially just everyone running into all of these auto attackers. They simply could not survive the onslaught of damage.
It was just too much. It was too little, too late, and the Wardens just did not have the items to fight into it. I mean, we were talking about it not 5 minutes ago, but that whole last item slot for basically the entire team was empty. The Eldritch Hounds had, at that point, fully upgraded relics, full builds, glyph items finished.
Elixir of power.
Exactly, elixirs of power. That was just too much for my small Chair 1 brain to understand. So I'm going to throw it over to the desk to tell us exactly what happened in that game.
Big congrats to the Eldritch Hounds for moving on to day number 4 with a 2-1 victory over the Kaolin Wardens in our third set of the day. Very early dominance out of the Eldritch Hounds, to say the least, to start things off. And then by the time we do end up managing to this late game, a decent bit of scaling coming through with that Gev, the support role. Quig really coming up big for his team throughout the entirety of this set. And it just became too difficult, especially the Kaolin Wardens down, 20,000 plus gold at that point. It's almost impossible to fight back into that.
Honestly, I got to give some respect over to the Kaolin Wardens for surviving as long as they did. I looked up at the clock, 25 some odd minutes into the game, 10,000 gold already up, Fire Giant on the belt of 5, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, we're looking at a little bit of a quicker day, but the Kaolin Wardens with a very veteran squad were able to hold out for just a little while, but as the cast so emphatically let you know, the onslaught of damage from the Eldritch Hounds was just too high. Once those elixirs were rolling through, once Dude Man Bro was allowed to start free casting in some of these team fights, it was just so difficult to deal with them. And the Wardens, with a very eclectic style of draft, are able to find themselves a pretty convincing win against these boys. Oath has a great game. Doesn't have as impressive a KD as maybe we're used to seeing from Oath, but still certainly one that you can write home about. Remakami drops a 9.5.
Sheesh.
What a great way to end the set for him and advance on to the next group. Just very impressive play. The Kaolin Wardens, though, have shown multiple times now that the style of play that they're willing to bring is the exact inverse of Hex Mambo. It is early game, early game, early game, which means that every other team that has been watching this set, have been watching this team play, knows exactly what they need to contend with, and it's early game. Just survive that onslaught, keep it as even as possible, maybe you'll have a better odds, because if you take the fight to them, well, the Eldritch Hounds, they just have more time doing it.
And Mifflin, if I'm looking at future games, not just against the Eldritch Hounds, but really just in general, it's that you cannot allow this double Hunter Baron comp to keep getting to these same teams. Sure, you let one or the other through, but giving Jingwei, Baron Somni, and a Neath, even though not a more traditional Hunter, the fact that this composition has been getting through for multiple teams and winning consistently for these teams is just showing that this is not something that other teams can allow to happen as the remainder of this tournament goes on.
Completely agree, man. Take a peek at some of these slash lines as well. Quig just doing the support special 0, and 13. Can't ask for more from your Geb. Maybe 10,000 damage on top of it as well. Surprising output. It's still not matching up what Not Gino was able to do on the other side, but the Hounds have certainly shown that they've got their own unique strategy, their own unique identity that is a threat within this league. Gotta keep your eyes on these boys.
60k damage mitigated as well by Quig, just making sure that he can be that frontline presence that they need. And I'm even going to throw a little shout out there to Dude Man Bro, tying up the exact same amount of wards as his support. Not often that the Hunter is putting out that same level, let alone 25 wards each. That's a lot of extra gold in pocket that this dual lane had in order to make sure that they had the vision to keep these things going through. Let's take a look at the bracket and see what we have in store for us for the rest of our day. That was just our first of 3 best of 3 matchups. Eldritch Hounds will now advance on to day number 4, where they'll be awaited with the Solar Scarabs and the Valhalla Valkyries. We still have one more spot to go. The EU matchup between the Wargs and the Mamba will be up next, and then the winner of that will face off against the Kaolin Wardens to see who's going to get their last chance to day 4.
Man, I really am excited for this match 14 best of 3. I mean, the Niflheim Wargs in studio right now. Had the opportunity to talk to them. Spoilers, I suppose, if we'll get the chance to hear about it a little bit later, but these guys seem to have got their heads on straight, especially considering the trek, the absolute slog that they had to go through yesterday, playing, I believe, around a combined 6 to 7 hours of Smite, 14 hours some odd day, get 5 hours of sleep. Mid laner across the pond in Romania has to wake up yet again to play Smite. This is going to be a hard one. Hex Mambo, though, all across the pond. Maybe his sleep schedule's iffy for the entirety of this next set.
It's going to be a big set between the European powerhouses. Who's going to come out on top? We'll find out right after this break.